Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome to the Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm Mike Herrick, and tonight I'm here with none other than Kendall Vanderbilt from the Fantasy Football Tavern. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, brother, we good. Notre Dame's up. We're winning. We all right. I'm torn, though, man. I'm torn. I was an IU guy that now lives right next to Notre Dame. So go Indiana, baby. We're decent at football this year. This is nice. I am of the opinion that, like, look, an Indiana team gets to move on. All right. I'll take the 50-50 guaranteed one moves on versus opposite sides we both could lose. I'm all about it. It's fun. I actually came from downtown South Bend earlier on today.
I can't believe it.
Like less than an hour ago. It's crazy. I don't know about you, but like I had my first was I this crazy in college? There are people passed out in the streets all over Notre Dame. You get an Uber right now. I mean, it is insane. It's a good time though. It's fun in downtown South Bend. But as much as the college game is interesting, man, I don't know about you, but I'm in the playoffs in a lot of spots, and I'm trying to win some leagues. So hopefully I'm looking to hang out and chat with the dedicated few that are hanging out tonight.
Me too, my friend. I'm in 3 right now that are currently in the playoffs, and technically 4. One is a weird combined 2-week thing, and I hate it. ESPN, change your shit. But otherwise, tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently than we normally do on a normal night. Normally, we give you guys a full breakdown of every single game that's going on. We're not going to do that tonight. We're going to make this for you guys. You guys are here to help. We are here to help you guys, so we want you guys to give your questions. So make sure you guys throw your questions in the chat. We're not going to do this whole breakdown of every game. I am going to take 1 second to go over injuries and go over, significant injuries that people need to really worry about and be aware of. So I'm going to go through that real quick, and then we're going to jump right into your questions. So load up your questions, start throwing them in the chat. We're going to get to them as we go. Also, please make sure you guys are giving us the league type, league format. I want to know if it's full PPR, half PPR, the whole deal. Just it helps me and Kendall get your answers correct, or as close as correct as we can.
If you've already played some Thursday night players, are you behind?
Yeah,
are you ahead?
Things like that is
right.
Did you play Ladd last night? Did you have, Sutton? Are you making a decision? I'll give you an example. I played Sutton last night. I'm in between on a couple of guys, so that kind of makes, the difference in a lot of situations. So make sure you guys do that. We also have our super chats available. So if you want an immediate response and us to answer it, let us know. Throw us that super chat, and we will get right to it. All right. So some notable news for everybody. I'm going to basically just be going through all the games from top to bottom just to give you guys ideas of injuries and who's going to be here, who's not, who's hurt, so on and so forth. Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain. Really surprised he's playing. He's going to be out there today. He had a full week of practice. He should be good to go. Hollywood Brown is actually back from his crazy clavicle thing that he had. He's going to be active for this game and going to be playing. So he's going to be out there. Joe Mixon, he was limited Tuesday and Wednesday, but he's good to go. He's off the injury report as well. George Pickens will be out against the Ravens. He is not practicing, hamstring. He's out. Justin Fields is also out, so just be aware of that. TJ Watt is off the injury report. Just, sometimes I want to let you guys know the defensive side of the ball. It means a lot. Rashad Bateman, he showed up on the injury report late on Thursday with a limited tag. He didn't practice on Friday. He is listed as questionable. It looks like it might be the wrong side of questionable. He's been wearing a boot on his right foot. So, we want to be a little bit cautious on that. Michael Penix, this is not a injury thing, but he's going to be starting for the Atlanta Falcons. Drew Lock will be starting for the New York Giants this week. Drew Lock, just so you know, he is questionable with the heel and left elbow, but he's fine. Barring a setback, he's good. Tommy DeVito will be his backup. He is currently out of concussion protocol. Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, and Wandell Robinson were all on the injury report. They're now off of it, so they are good to go. Xavier Legette, he is ruled out with a hip injury. Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard, they're good to go. They had some rest during the week, so they were on and then off. Jalen Coker is questionable with a quad injury, so be aware of that. Trey Benson is listed as out, and so is Emar DiMaccaro. He's out as well, and DJ Dallas too. So I think it's just James Conner at this point.
So nothing's changed.
No, nothing's changed. David Montgomery, he's out. He did get a second opinion, or a third opinion technically, and they say he could be good to go by NFL playoffs. We'll see how that goes. Roshan Johnson, he's still in concussion protocol. He needs to be cleared, but he did have 2 full practices and should be active by tomorrow. We'll know by 4:00 tomorrow. So just keep your alerts up and check, and you'll know if he is. T. Higgins is good to go. He's off the injury report. He did jump on the injury report with did not practice Thursday, I think it was. He's good to go. Joe Burrow is good to go as well. Cedric Tillman is still in concussion protocol. He is limited, so you're more than likely not having him, and he's out. Tony Pollard did not practice all week, but is listed as questionable. Be aware of that. He had something like this happen last week, and he played. They could be managing his reps. There's a lot being involved with this. It's something to keep an eye out on either way. Tyler Boyd is questionable. I think he's healthy. I think he's good. Nick Westbrook-Akine is good. He's off the report. Alec Pierce is out for this game. Nick Folk will be a game time decision. They've already said he will be a game time decision, so just be aware if you use kickers. Rams and Jets game. Braylon Allen is good. He's questionable, though. Same with Isaiah Davis. They are both questionable going into this game. Tyler Higbee, he's off the injury report and is probably most likely making his debut. I'm not playing him, but it's just good to know. If you have Kobe Parkey, you're not using it. Or Colby Parkinson, you're probably not using him.
Braylon, Isaiah, who's healthier, if it matters?
There, too.
I think they're both good to go, but this should be a 100%. Brees is less injured than both of them.
No,
right? He's
Brees
a full healthy
correct.
where they're still kind of got a question. It looks like it's all Brees, and they're going to be kind of minutely involved. The point is Brees is a full go, right?
Yeah, 100%. They've already said it like twice. He is right now. He is the one. Brees is the one that is healthier than both of these guys. So, Devontae Smith, he's good. He was limited on Thursday, but otherwise he's good. He had a back injury, and I even put in my notes.
A lot of weight.
Yeah.
How much does Hurts weigh?
Yeah. How much does everybody weigh last week? So he's good to go. Commanders are good otherwise. No real injuries to really talk about anymore for these Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker,
right?
Geno Smith, they're all off the injury report as of today. All clear, all good to go. So Seahawks are probably the healthiest they'll be in quite some time. So they have Zach Charbonnet, Walker, Smith, and Metcalf. All are off the injury report, so just be aware of that. Bills and Patriots had no injuries that are notable, so just be aware of that. Aiden O'Connell, good to go. Jacoby Myers is good to go, so everybody is ready to go. 49ers, this game is a little bit more complicated. Tyreek Hill had still has his wrist injury. He had a rest day, so didn't practice on Wednesday, full on Thursday. Limited today. He's listed as questionable. I would assume he's going to play because his teammate, Jalen Waddle, is out. He is listed as doubtful, so just assume he's out. So he is currently in that situation. Isaac Garando is going to be out for this game. He was ruled out today. Patrick Taylor should be the lead back with a little bit of Israel Bandakanda and Keyshawn Vaughn will be thrown in there too. So just be aware of that. CeeDee Lamb had a shoulder injury. He's fine. He's off the report. Bucky Irving was limited all week. He's off the report. Baker Mayfield, he's full go. He's good to go. Unfortunately, Caden Otten is going to be doubtful. So this is kind of a big, a big one for a lot of people. He will be out this week. For the Saints and Packers right now, Alvin Kamara, this was the big news during the beginning of the week. Alvin Kamara is unlikely to play for the rest of the week/season. So just be aware of that. You might, if you don't already have Kendrick Miller, you might want to see if he's available on your waivers. If not, not many other choices to go with. I'm definitely not going with Jamal Williams. He's not somebody that's worth picking up at this point. But other than that, it's really Kendrick Miller. And they did bring in Clyde Edwards. Yeah, they brought in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll wait and see how that goes. Derek Carr, he is going to be inactive for this game, but he's getting closer to playing. Chris Olave, he returned to practice this week, so they opened his practice window. He's been cleared by a specialist. The team is going to see how his practices go from the week, but other than that, I don't think he plays this year, or at least the rest of the fantasy season that we're going to be dealing with. Luke Musgrave has a chance to play Monday night, as per Matt LaFleur. I'm not trusting it either way. Do not rely on him in any way, shape, or form. So those are all the injuries we got. Now we're going to go and answer your questions. If you don't already have a question in the chat, please make sure you guys throw it in there, and we're going to get to it right now. We're just going to go through it. Keep asking questions if you have any. We're here for you tonight. This is your night, so we're going to answer all your questions. Well, we do that anyway. This time we're not going to be talking and talking and talking. So here we go. Steve, how you doing, brother? Great to have you here. We have a kicker question. Always one of my favorite. We're going to go, it's either Chris Boswell, Chimeri Fairbairn, or Chase McLaughlin. Now, all these guys are top 5. So there really is no wrong answer here, in my opinion. I will give you the tiebreaker for me is most likely is McLaughlin. He's indoors.
Yep.
He's kicking indoors. The other two are kicking, outdoors. Texans might have a little bit of a hard time running, with their offense. They've been a little bit sluggish on offense as of late, but Chimeri pretty much, Chimeri, I always say it's not Chimeri. Kaimi. There we go. Kaimi is one of those people that can still kick a 50-yard field goal. It is in Kansas City, so it's a little bit of a different atmosphere. He usually does better indoors than out. Boswell, I don't care where he's playing, he kicks the damn ball. He's been doing very well as of late, and it's kind of hard not to sit a guy like Boswell. I think he's
multiple Pro Bowl. I mean,
I think he's been ranked. Yeah,
honestly, an absolute legend at the kicker position.
Well, he's been absolutely, crazy this whole year. His longest is in the 57 from the playing it against Baltimore. The last time they played Baltimore, he kicked 6 field goals. It's kind of hard not to play a guy like him. To me, it's between Boswell and McLaughlin, and I think I might move to Boswell. The only caveat to that is since George Pickens is going to be out,
offensive opportunities might be this could be a field position battle with very little scoring.
Yeah, and they have to at least get to that, I would say the 30 just to make the game, to put it into Boswell's hand. Could I see this game being a back and forth kicking game? Oh, of course. I definitely could. Because both defenses are hungry. This is an AFC North, matchup where they are brutal on defense. Boswell is probably your best bet, just because he's been on fire all year. He had 2 weak games just because he kicked 50 and something else. 50 and 30. So he only got 8 points for you last week. And only got you 4 the week before. It looks like 7 the week before. So complete. Oh no, 8, and I didn't realize extra points. So 11. So yeah, I'm still going to be rolling with Boswell. I'm surprised you have 3 kickers, to be quite honest. If it's Scott Fishbowl and you need those guys, I
I was
don't
gonna
blame you.
say, it feels like an SBF, yeah.
Well, it feels like Scott Fishbowl if you're in the playoffs and if you're in MFL. That's the only way that works.
These are kickers you would have if you're in the playoffs, probably.
Oh yeah, I have
I'm with you. Boswell McLaughlin. I feel like the split between them is honestly a coin flip for me. I think I'm leaning McLaughlin only because I can see. It's weird that here's how I see it. I actually think Boswell has a higher ceiling because I think that could be like a 12-9 kick fest.
Yeah.
Like sometimes those low scoring games can actually be like, how many times has Tennessee's kicker kicked for 5 field goals? Like that happens a couple
Matt
times.
Falk, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of have McLaughlin. He was a soccer player back in the day, so I like him for that. Me and Phil are definitely on McLaughlin. The inside and the fact that I think the game's gonna be so high scoring, defenses are banged up, offenses look elite. I feel like he's gonna kick at least 4 extra points on top of whatever he does field goal kicking. I'm going McLaughlin because I feel like the floor is considerably safer than Boswell. I don't usually do that with kickers, but I do feel like this has a legitimate floor to it. But I won't convince anyone to go off of Boswell, who's an absolute legend. Kaimi is unfortunately they're not going to be enough scoring in the game.
Yeah, I don't think so. I hope there is. I mean, I have a lot of Texans that I'm kind of hoping do well. So
we've been waiting 16 weeks for the Texans to start putting up points.
Waiting for them to do what they did last year. Just my suggestion: check the weather in the morning, see how everything goes. If they start saying that 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts and stuff in Baltimore, that's when I would switch over to McLaughlin. That's how I would play it if I was in your position. But I think Boswell's your choice. We just spent 5 minutes on kickers, and
we've never done that.
So happy.
I'm happy.
Season.
That's we'll never touch a kick. Oh, I forgot. You
guy.
Are all about the kick. How are you the kicker guy? Me and Phil are like
I played soccer. I played soccer in high school.
I forgot about that.
I played soccer for a while. I'm a big soccer guy.
We need to have a get right meetup where we can go kick a ball around, baby. Let's go.
Oh, I can kick it. I can still kick the damn thing, but I can't run anymore.
Somebody bring some ice packs for us, old man. This is not gonna be
ice
pretty.
Packs. Shit, I need an ambulance to take me home. So Stephen gives us another question. He goes, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Jonathan Taylor. Wow. Pick 2, half PPR. I'm going to go with the easier question here, Kyler or Jaden Daniels. We're going to answer that one first, and then we're going to go to the other one. So the first one, the Kyler and Daniels, it's Daniels. I'm not even going to play around. You don't play around with something like that. Kyler, I just don't trust. He hasn't
got nothing
done
against him, man, but body of work, right?
Yeah, and Carolina has been playing good. Carolina has been playing good to bad QBs, if that makes any sense. Even Patrick Mahomes, they held down for a little bit. I think that in this case, I'm just rolling with the guy that got me there. If Daniels got you there, roll with him. I mean, I think I have them significantly different in my I have Kyler at 11 and Jaden Daniels at 4. Go with the guy that actually is, you can trust. It's a tougher matchup, but Daniels has played through a lot of that throughout the year without any problem. So I'm not too worried about it. Let's look at the last time he played them. He didn't have a great game. He did get injured in that game, if memory serves me right. He was QB 24 on the day, so I understand the hesitancy of wanting to play him. But that was last time. I think he'll be fine. You agree?
I think so. I'm actually debating this one a little bit. This one's...
The more I keep looking at it, I kind of want to throw myself a different direction. But Kyler hasn't shown me anything at all in the last few weeks. He had a...
Kyler's downside is way lower than Jaden's downside. That offense just works. I know they could rush for a bunch of touchdown, but...
New England's a bad defense, and he played them last week. He was QB 22. Last time he was anywhere in the top 10 was 2 weeks ago, and that was against Seattle. And he knows that team better. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 10s this year. Comparatively, every other is outside of that.
Kyler's starting to feel like this, like
And it's a
closer to
double XP
Stroud, in like, dude, you're not putting it up. The team's identity is clearly James Conner. I think
Now,
without the supporting cast, I actually don't think that's like, oh, well, if Connor's a little nicked up, they'll have to throw the ball. I look at that as like I want the offense to work, and the offense hasn't worked without Connor. So with him leaning on Connor too much, I actually see a whole offense. That's a game where I'm like, I'm going to hammer the under. I just think it's ugly. I think it's going to be way lower scoring than it's supposed to be. Kyler's not a guy that when he doesn't have to is going to try hard. It's not a big game for him. I don't think he's going to give a shit. And I think Jaden is a rookie that really cares. It doesn't matter who he's playing. He's going to go win because it matters to him. That mentality late in the season, I think looking at like the dynamics of the players, what they have to play for, Jaden has a lot more to play for than Kyler. And that I think is going to speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, completely agree. Now let's try to answer this harder question of Neighbors, Devontae Adams, and Jonathan Taylor. And it's half PPR.
Because it's half PPR, Neighbors is my first out here, unfortunately. I think I'm going Devontae and JT here. It's between Neighbors and JT as the first out, but JT in a rough matchup would be my easy out. But what's the Jaguars, right? Like, he might rush for 150 yards and 2. Like, his ceiling is ridiculous in half PPR specifically. And after Devontae's last performance, there's no way I can sit him because Rodgers might throw him the ball 15 times in a row consecutively. Neighbors I like, but I feel like if Neighbors doesn't catch a touchdown, PPR versus half PPR affects Neighbors in a major way. I mean, that's 3 to 4 point difference some weeks. And I think that's significant.
To me, Neighbors is out of this equation. And as much as you want to throw volume his way, which is more than likely going to be the case, Drew Lock is throwing the ball. I mean,
It's not Neighbors' fault. We're not anti-Neighbors here, right?
No, Neighbors is a fantastic wide receiver. I think he's one of the best that we've picked up in quite some time, and that's saying a lot. Honestly,
first-round picks from you, fucking better.
Honestly, it's more the QB than anything, and the matchup. He's going to be going against Tyrell in most situations, who is very good in his own right, and they have a good secondary overall. I'm a little bit against
JT
that.
has the Titans. Why did I say Jaguars?
Yeah, no, you're fine. But even with the Titans, I mean, the Titans are a decent matchup. He didn't face them this year yet because he was injured with his high ankle sprain, that week. I think if memory serves me, Ty Goodson was the one that did well against them in that week. Hold on, I want to double check.
I think the Titans had a good run D to start the season, but I do feel like they're just not caring as much anymore. And JT seems like he's playing pretty hard against decent defenses. JT's like he's not like Steelers Ravens proof, but I feel like JT 25 carries 5 yards a carry. He's kind of proving that he actually is the guy we thought he was before he got injured.
They just need to involve him more in the passing game, and they don't, and that's his biggest drawback.
Like that's where if it was PPR, that's why it's like JT loses a ton of value in PPR.
Yeah.
But
So
in half
for me-
PPR in a matchup, I feel like, especially so Alec Pierce is out. That's a big deal in terms of the cheap, free, long touchdowns are not there as much. Josh Downs is not a touchdown grabber; he's more of a possession receiver. This sets up for JT to have all the touchdowns.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, Titans are currently 20th, 20 best against the running back on the season.
Wow, that was a quick fade. They started the season as top 5 easy. That's real.
And then the last 10 weeks, or since week 10, so the last 6 weeks technically, they are currently 22nd against the against running back. Points given up to the running back. So for me, I feel like Jonathan Taylor is definitely the safe pick here. Devontae Adams, though, is in a very good spot with his own, with what he's been dealing with. But for the last few weeks, the Rams have been actually pretty good against wide receivers.
They really have been. Like, strange. And going into the season, didn't we all think that every game against the Rams was going to be an absolute fiesta? And it's, I guess, credit to McVay, I think. I don't want to take away talent from the players, but it does feel like that defense is oddly dialed into some low-scoring matchups.
Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just trying to click things for us for.
Hey, we're chilling
later.
today. I'm trying so hard to look at the camera when I have the game over here too.
No, you do your thing.
We're more than one touchdown away. We're good. I'm surprised. I hammered the under. I was like, no two teams from Indiana playing each other. 50.5 over under. We're just printing money with the lower, baby. Come on.
Yeah. So to give you a real answer for the for Neighbors, Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor, I think I'm going to lead in Jonathan Taylor here. I just feel a little bit more comfortable in those waters. I rather have the consistency. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. I also think if Neighbors picks up the slightest twitch of an injury with their season, they're just going to pull him. So
I mean, he's been injured every week this year,
right, which is crazy. Like, he has not been in my wide receiver 1 or 2 spot all season. He's just been a permaflex because I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to feel like, because I could make an argument that like Devontae had a crazy blow up week, right? But
I mean, that's
dude, Rodgers has looked god awful sometimes, and he has a way lower ceiling than he really does. We don't just want to get blinded by last week, but at the same time, I actually think Neighbors has a lower floor than Devontae because Aaron's just going to do his thing to Devontae, where I don't know if Drew Luck has the ability to do that with Neighbors. Neighbors has a much lower floor with no touchdowns, 12 targets. He could still end up with 4 catches on 12 targets, which seems absurd. Not quite the same for Devontae. And if you're in the playoffs, which is why you're asking the question, Adams is 40-point ceiling. Neighbors doesn't have access to it with Drew Luck. Jonathan Taylor's 2 touchdown ceiling. Neighbors doesn't have access to it, and we're looking at ceiling games in the playoffs.
Your boy A-Rich can definitely pull that away from him too. So it's one of those things where I'm actually going to change after I looked at a couple other things. Last 3 weeks,
follow him so fast. The fact that he has to be my boy. Why did I do this? Ugh.
Yeah, it's on you. It's on you. You decided to sit on that.
That's coming for me, and I deserve every.
As you should. This is what fantasy is about. I'm going to switch to Devontae, actually. After looking at it, he's been averaging 12 targets or more since week 9.
His Neighbors with a better offense?
I mean, better quarterback. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't great, but he's better than Drew Lock and all them, and they make a way for him to work. 109 yards, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Those numbers can't lie. Just Devontae Adams, it's fine. Yeah, I'm going Devontae Adams.
I like it.
Smokey the Cat, what's going on, man? He goes, "What's up, guys?" He goes, "We got that bag last week with the touchdown parlay." Excuse me. So he got JJ, Amon-Ra, London, Higgins, and Neighbors. Good for you,
that's
brother.
A bag. Oh my god. That was a big bag.
You almost didn't get the Neighbors one. It was such
seriously?
a bad throw. It was such a bad throw.
The T. Higgins one could have been down at the 1 if he didn't really get in there. That was a great play by T.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So his lineup is Josh Allen, Chase Brown, Bijan, Neighbors, Higgins, Laporta, or Hunter Henry. Then he has Bucky or Marvin Harrison Jr.
Bucky.
Also, which defense? So
Atlanta.
if you're gonna,
oh my god, Atlanta.
First off, you have it exactly the way you should. And this is a tougher one for me, but it is Atlanta, because the Bengals game I like as well. I picked Bengals anywhere I could find them. I already had Atlanta for the teams that I have defenses for in the playoffs. I tried grabbing Atlanta 2 weeks ago.
They're such a good stash. Yeah, that was the big one. Stash.
That was
early.
the one.
That
I
was
didn't
the
care.
play.
I didn't care who was at quarterback. I'm like done. It's really just because of the numbers, to be honest. And it's Atlanta. You have to go.
Dude,
with Atlanta.
Not disappointing. Their defense is not disappointing.
No, and it's really because the Giants' offense hasn't gone above 20 points in a matter of.
They have red zone inefficiency issues. They can't put up touchdowns. 3 versus 7 enough times is tough.
Yeah. So Bucky is definitely the answer for that. Laporta is the answer for the other one that you got. So you're in good shape. I thought you were for a minute you were flexing your particular team for a minute.
I'll say if it was tight end premium, I'm not kidding. I would go Henry.
I might move it to Henry if it was tight end premium, but I do like Laporta.
They're going to be trailing by the second, not quarter. The second the game starts, they're actually trailing. Hunter Henry is the best target on the field for them right now. He's actually their wide receiver 1. other guys aren't getting playing time. He's the red zone guy. I have Hunter Henry in a lot of tight end premiums, wavered him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably going to have like a 7-8 catch plus a touchdown, like a big game. Laporta,
He's going to have Gordon on him. That's the only thing that I'm a little nervous about. He'll have Gordon.
I just don't think he's needed. With Monty out, I do think that opens up a red zone opportunity for him in a big way. So there's that.
Yeah.
But again, I think Laporta has more touchdown upside. So in non-tight end premium, it's clearly Laporta. I'm just saying in like true formats where it's like ridiculous PPR, I think Hunter Henry catches more passes.
Yeah. This is one of those games where the Bills need to win it because they're looking for that home field advantage, and they still have a chance for it. They're
not taking the foot off the gas. They're when they're up by 40, maybe they do.
Yeah. But
I love that he put it in there though. The fact that he put like Hunter Henry in question marks is like that's such a pro like consideration, and I respect it in a big way.
Yeah, for sure. Next is Perry Williams. What's going on, Perry? How you doing, brother? He's been
appreciate the love in the chat too, baby. Perry, what's happening, baby? Let's win.
Perry. So he's asking us to pick 3 for him. It's 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. So pick 3 out of that. London, Brian Thomas Jr.
PPR half Perry if you're in here, bud.
McBride and or Juno. Juno Smith. My assumption is it's full. 9 times out of 10 when Perry brings these in, they're full.
He said full. Awesome. Thanks, Perry.
So we're picking 2 wide receivers and 2. I don't understand that.
So if they don't have a tight end spot, I'm guessing tight ends are just pure. That's an interesting scoring format, by the way, and I like it a lot.
A lot of people are liking it. I don't like it. But
I think I need like a billion flexes to make it viable.
Is it one flex that we're talking about here, or is it 2 flexes? Because
I think it's 4 spots picked.
Oh no! It's his wide receiver. It's his wide receiver 2 and flex 2. That's my bad.
That makes sense.
So in this case, I'm cool with London and BTJ.
Hopkins is my first out. Easy. Bowers is out.
Hopkins is out.
I love Bowers, but I'm going McBride over Bowers. That offense doesn't
even
work.
With O'Connell.
I don't care who it is. He caught 3 passes the other week. The fact
but
that's even in the range of outcomes is stupid.
That's Desmond Ridder. I don't count that game.
With O'Connell, it helps, but like McBride over Bowers for sure. Jonnu, you want to break this down like little bits at a time? Give me Jonnu Bowers. I need Jonnu Bowers discussion before I can get to the rest.
Well, what about McBride? McBride's
clearly over Bowers and Jonnu for sure.
So
then it becomes the winner of Bowers and Jonnu over London and BTJ, and they don't get there, do they?
Well, but that's still my whole thing. Hopkins is clearly out of this equation.
For sure.
Then it's really one of the wide receivers.
Can you just kill London immediately because we don't know how bad the quarterback play is? He could be great, but it's his first game. I have major hesitations that it could be a Bijan game, and London has a very low ceiling.
I'm okay. Like I'm in a situation I got to play London, so London to me is a lot of I'm like really.
Like, I have to play him too. If you had the luxury to bench him, I don't know. I don't know if I could.
I've never had the luxury to bench him. Yeah, I know. I don't feel like I've had that, but playing 3 tight ends at that spot
with these tight ends too. I mean, geez, these are not just tight ends. These are tight ends here.
Jonnu is the only one out of that group that I feel can disappear. Because I remember
that's fair.
Recently,
can disappear.
Well, that too. Like recently, I remember the one game he didn't even become relevant until the end.
Waddle being out though is
Waddle. He's in, so that's the problem. So all 3 of these guys are overly used in their offenses. London, if you had to drop him, but bench him. Ugh. Yeah, I think I might do that. Oh, that's so gross to feel.
Harry, you have a great question here.
Yeah,
give that to you.
That's a good one. So yeah, London and Hopkins, I think, are our consensus there.
So we like BTJ,
Bowers,
McBride, and Bowers,
and Juno.
It's pick 3. So
it's 3.
BTJ.
Oh, gross.
BTJ McBride, and then who's our BTJ McBride? Who's your third? London or Bowers Jonnu?
Ew. I can't. I don't feel right.
London over Jonnu.
Tight ends.
So I'm down to London Bowers.
London Bowers sounds about right for me. With Jonnu,
I lean London just based on wide receiver 1 and quarterback play. If you're giving me Penix over what I see over in the Raiders camp, I'm gonna go with Penix because I've seen
you
bad
mean you're
play from the
going with
Raiders. I haven't seen bad.
You
from
mean you're
Penix
going
yet.
with the Falcons, not Penix. I know Penix is on the Falcons. I'm saying like you're going with that with London. Like you're okay with London.
I'm okay with London and his quarterback play versus. I think there's a lower ceiling to Bowers' game based on how far the season's just over.
So for those that don't
yeah.
already know, I have a ticker below that's showing all the games and all the over-unders, the who's favored, so on and so forth. Just so you're aware. The Jaguars and Raiders, that game is 40 and a half. The Miami game
like
is
Vegas
44.
says that's not going to be a big game. It's going to be honestly, I think
both
both DSTs in that game I think are going to eat.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I've decided I'm going for sure. BTJ is my 1, Jonnu is the 2 in that, and then I'm going to go London over Bowers as my 3rd there in terms of I trust him more to make something happen, and I don't think the quarterback play drops off tremendously from Cousins to Penix even as his first game. It might even be better.
Okay. Yeah, I like London. I think I'm going to go London. It's hard.
I think London's talented too. Like he's a good player.
Yeah.
I think have we forgotten that London's great because
do you know that Penix Penix in college had the most passing yards out of everybody that was there. He's going to sling the ball around. He knows how to throw the ball. He has good zip on it. I like London and the matchup. I mean, there's no Deontay Banks. There's the defense is okay. Like their defensive line isn't the best because they lost, Dexter Lawrence. They're going to have to, I mean, it's still going to be a competitive game just because of the fact that it's a rookie quarterback going against a, somewhat viable defense. I think that London can be heavily involved, and Jonnu is the only exception to this. It's just so hard right now.
Yeah, like I'm already thinking like Jonnu over Bowers because it doesn't feel like the Raiders have any big game to play for. Like, tell me the situation where Bowers goes
they're
for
trying
101.
I
don't see it.
They're trying to tank as much as the Giants are.
Jonnu could have 101. I don't think Bowers can very often. And London could have 2. I know it's about rookie quarterbacks hyper target their wide receiver 1s, and London is a good wide receiver 1. They might both be like Mooney and him could eat. Yeah.
Let's go London BTJ, and then I can't not pick McBride in this particular scenario. I
love McBride, especially with the running backs as injured as they are. McBride could be an easy safety valve. He could have 14 targets that game. I really think that's viable.
That's very doable. Packers or Colts in this scenario. We have Mason Rudolph coming in to play for Will Levis. I got to go with the Packers. You're going against Spencer Rattler. Packers is the choice for me.
Spencer Rattler and nobody, no Kamara, no wide receivers. I mean, he's playing the same game he played in college.
Yep. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Njoku, Brenton Strange, or Dalton Kincaid. Have PPR.
Injured, and won't even need him.
I'm going to go Kincaid. That offense has been on fire. They've only he's only been, thrust into everything recently, and he's been a lot more involved. Njoku and Strange to me, unless Strange plays, and Strange plays at 4:00. Well, so does Kincaid, so you have a little bit of room, but I'm leaning Kincaid.
I'm leaning. I'm not. Njoku's for sure out. Njoku's
out.
DTR
He's very banged up.
Njoku's very. It's not his bad. Even if he was healthy, the fact that DTR is throwing the ball, major issues there. DTR has had the
I don't like DTR
of any quarterback I've ever seen. He could throw 12 passes. It's insane how low that is. It's between Strange and Kincaid, and Strange is fairly banged up. I haven't studied his injury too much. I have him a lot in Dynasty. I'll put it this way: if I knew. How much do you know about Strange's injury? Or have you
I don't know much about it. No, they haven't really covered it. And honestly, it doesn't seem like it's much, but I'm going to look right now.
If Strange were perfectly healthy, I actually do like him in that offense.
He remained limited on Thursday. It's a shoulder injury,
Shoulder injuries have a high chance of being re-injured, though. It's
especially by tight end.
wonderful. And their season's over. I'm going to go Kincaid. They have to win.
They have to be
A
involved.
fallacy people often think of is, oh, the Bills are going to smoke them, right?
No, yeah.
Good teams don't have to smoke bad teams. It's the NFL. Parity is high in the NFL.
Mhm.
There is absolutely plenty of game scripts where that doesn't happen.
They're favored
Right?
by 14.
One silly turnover, and all of a sudden they're down by a touchdown. Kincaid can still have a big game. I'm
Yeah.
going to go with the person in the offense who is going to keep the pedal down, and he's also the most talented player. You got a lot of reasons to go Kincaid.
Let me double check something because most of the time, and I'm from the Northeast, and we have some snow on the way.
Oh, we got some weather.
Yeah, let me double check if I can spell.
Because I mean, look, I'll put it this way: if Strange is perfectly healthy, I want to go Strange, and I'm not afraid to say that I actually like Strange better than Kincaid in terms of his role in that offense. I actually
It's just gonna be a cold. It's just gonna be cold, but they're gonna be fine. I'm still going Kincaid.
I think the over under the amount of red zone opportunities for
it's 46.
so big.
Yeah, it's 46, and they're favored by 14. They're gonna just run they've been putting up 30 every time.
Is it fair to say that it would take a bad game from Kincaid in order for Strange to be the better play? Because in terms of like overall upside,
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
that's kind of
but-
how I look at it in my head. In terms of like, I'm looking at like, what's the worst case scenario that I would feel I would regret?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Daniels, Love, or Rogers? Now, I have Daniels ranked higher. Just full disclosure.
Definitely,
He's
I mean, it's definitely Daniels for me.
Yeah.
There's an interesting case for like if
I
you're
would say
losing
Love
by
is
a
close.
lot. Like Rodgers has the biggest like upside, I think, in terms of throwing like a ridiculous amount of touchdowns because who cares? But Daniels is so clearly the one here for me. Love that
Love is close
offense-
though against New Orleans.
Are you getting the sense that like Love is the less hyperbolic version of CJ Stroud in terms of low passing yardage?
I mean,
They run the ball as much as they can. When
Yeah.
Mixon's healthy, it's all
No, I
Mixon.
agree.
When
No,
Jacobs
I agree
is healthy,
100%.
it's all Jacobs. I
The-
think Love just has such
the
a low
first-
ceiling.
that first drive alone was just a culmination of their year. They just
Yeah.
handed the ball to Jacobs on every play and then had him score the touchdown. I was like, oh, thank you. And then did not do that again. Daniels is, to me, the clear one. I mean, currently Love has been top 10 in 2 games this year, and the rest he's been outside of top 12. So I'm gonna go with Daniels in this matchup and ride that. I mean, he has been one hell of a player the last few weeks. Sam Laporta for me, for Laporta or
Yeah.
Brenton Strange. It's too far of a gap for me to go to.
Talent wins. Laporte is such a better player.
He's such a better player. And
Forget the
offense-
matchup. It's the NFL. Everyone's good.
Offense
I'm gonna
and
go with the
quarterback.
guy who's just better.
IP14, what's going on, brother? He goes, hi, would you guys start Scary Terry or London in PPR? So right away, I'm gonna go.
Did you immediately go Terry in PPR? Terry catches
Last
balls.
week I would have. Well, but that's the problem with Scary Terry. He can go from 5 targets to 2.
He's the half PPR wonder.
He really is. He's
You
a
kind of have
beast.
to go Terry though, right? Like proven quarterback play. The ceiling, the floor for London is like Penix could suck.
He could.
He won't suck, right? But he could.
He
Like guys,
won't.
we're so wrong about quarterbacks all the time.
It's so hard to pick, honestly.
Or
'cause
sometimes we're right about the quarterback, wrong about the coaching staff.
I'm just so nervous to see what happens because I have London in a championship matchup and I need him to do well. So I'm leaning London, and I know he's one of the biggest question marks here. To me, it's hard to go against the talent, but both are incredibly talented. Go with the quarterback, go with the matchup at that point.
Ertz is banged up.
Wait, what?
My like lean towards Terry is like Ertz. Ertz is fine, but he's a little banged up.
Ertz is very banged up. No, he's
I
very
think
banged
that
up. I think he's doubtful.
Ertz was a big red zone target for them for quite some time. Ertz was a big underneath target.
And he was hurt in that game too.
He was. That's why I think it ended up going Terry's way. I'm saying I think I'd give Terry a slight elevation because Ertz, I think, has to take a back seat with his injuries. We're talking tiebreakers, though.
Eagles,
this is really thin for me.
Well, the Eagles are the best currently against the wide receiver.
That's fair. That's actually
technically
really
the Giants are 5th, which makes no sense at all since week 10.
It's because your RB ranking is.
Well, I was just going to say, if I switch this right now and go to RB and look at everything, oh, wait a minute, Giants are last. So it's one of those things where you want to just, take these stats with a grain of salt. But
Drake is playing the Giants. Terry McLaurin's playing Philly with a dope secondary.
I mean, that's if Slay plays, and I think he's a little banged up, which I think he plays anyway.
God, you almost make me lean London because of the matchup.
I just feel like London is a better matchup. Even with the quarterback change, I still think that he can do well.
Philly's secondary is just lethal.
They really are, and they could shut the game down. He had 2 targets against Philly last time they played.
Okay, rookie quarterbacks hyper target their wide receiver.
We already said that. And so did
Jaden
Jaden Daniels. Well, that's my point. This is 2 rookies that we're trying to pick from. I'm going London.
I have them
Better
dead
matchup.
even. I just looked up Fantasy Pros ECR to see like where they have their projections. Just to be, I have them exactly 14 and 15.
Yeah.
ECR has them 14 and 15.
I'm
dead on.
I have McLaurin at 12, and I have London at 15. And honestly, I might change that.
My tiebreaker is I actually really believe the Eagles' defense is better than it's even shown on paper. I think it's really good, and I think the Eagles' offense can control the pace of play in a way that really limits offensive touches.
Yeah.
There's a game script, and I'm talking about this out loud, chat. This is not like I have prepared this. I'm thinking about this out loud with you. There's a world in which the running game for the Eagles runs the clock so far down and it's too far away. And then the
keep
Eagles
Daniels
take
off the
ball
board.
away,
Yeah.
where it could be a close game that has so few possessions. They're also both teams that would like to run the ball.
Mhm.
There's a chance that the game is close. It ends up being an absolute run fest where neither quarterback has more than 22 completions or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's definitely one way that can run.
I don't think that the Falcons D is great, but I also think they're not super elite in the way that the Giants have some weapons that can make some things happen.
This was the game that Saquon went almost nuclear. He was 146, 2 touchdowns, and had 3 for 52.
And Gainwell looks like he's been learning a lot because you see a spin
Gainwell's
move Gainwell the other day. That looked
Gainwell has
mean.
been a lot more involved, but I think they're doing that to kind of limit his touches a smidge.
Yeah, a little bit.
But overall, if I'm going
I've convinced myself I'm London. I'm
Yeah.
London.
Better matchup.
London's can't bottom out. He's going to get enough targets. He's good enough.
They're going to get him at least 10, and if not more.
Yeah.
Good
Question, man. I love
these
questions that
questions.
change my own mind as I dive into them.
Well, we're getting these on the fly, so it's one of those things where I
Always
if
get
I had a
two-parted
couple
too.
minutes to look at these, I would give you more. I like going through the thought process. So
I'm
he
going
has-
DJ Moore over Bucky, though, by the way. I know it sounds crazy, but DJ Moore is guaranteed like 10 targets. Like Caleb at his worst, DJ Moore is slightly playable. At his best, DJ Moore is a wide receiver 1. I'm going to choose to believe that the range of outcomes is relatively weighted towards the upside here. I like Bucky, but Bucky can have just an okay game. DJ Moore can have a truly elite game. I think they have similar floors. Half PPR, it's easily Bucky. It's because it's PPR,
It's
and I think
full.
DJ Moore gets
Yeah.
10 targets.
Yeah, I might have to lean DJ here. I
That
do
is
like
razor
Bucky.
thin, but
I'm a big advocate for going with I'm a big advocate for when in doubt and you're unsure to go with the running back, just because of the concept of the guaranteed of a touch comparatively to one that you are unsure of.
do you make any hesitation for because Bucky is the running back, but him and Rashad White are basically a 50-50 snap share.
Bucky has been consistent the last few weeks, except for that. In the last 3 weeks, I think 1 week he didn't have a good week.
Those are targets, though. I think his yards per carry was still absolutely elite.
He's still, right now, DJ Moore hasn't eclipsed more than 44 points. He was wide receiver 44, 35 last week. He was top 10 in 1, 2, 3 weeks out of the year, he's been otherwise in the 30s. I rather go with Bucky, who I know is a trusted, thing. But the problem is his injury is one of those scenarios where he could aggravate. It's his back and his hip, and it could make him
He's got like
a little
3
bit.
injuries. He's dealing with. Like he needs one aggravation.
Well, and that's kind of my point. Like they both have 3 top 10,
Mhm.
and the rest of the year has been kind of underwhelming. But even last week, like this week, he was limited in practice all week. The one before that, he was a little bit more, did not practice. So to me, I'm sorry.
I
Speck,
want to let you finish your take because
no, Matty Speck
there was a couple
gets
of
my
overlaps
attention.
there.
Matty Speck gets my attention. I apologize. I was looking at stuff. So half PPR, Lamar, AJ Brown, Flowers, Gibbs, Ford, George Kittle in his flex, Pollard in the
Would you
flex,
change anybody?
Debo, Reed, Harris, Bigsby, McMillan. No, I would not change any of this.
This is a 2-2-1-1. AJB Flowers, Gibbs
Yeah.
Ford.
Yep.
Kittle.
Kittle is tight end and then flex
And then
is Pollard. I'm good with all that.
Debo bench, Reed bench, Harris absolutely bench, Bigsby bench.
1 o'clock. So you have the ability, if need be, if Pollard is out, because Pollard didn't practice all week. The only change I would make is if Pollard is inactive. So I'm going to leave that as the caveat. If he is inactive, then I might move to Debo. Right? Debo?
I'm going McMillan with Baker.
Yeah, you think
With
so?
Kate Otten's out, so all the touchdowns are going to McMillan. He caught 2 the other week.
I don't hate
looking better.
McMillan here. And Trayvon Diggs is out for the season.
Baker already wants to throw touchdowns. Evans is going to take away the strong coverage.
Even with at half, though?
Well, even at half, I think I want to weight it towards touchdowns. And I think
He has
McMillan has a
Najee,
much
too.
great-
Well, Najee is out of the
Najee's
equation.
an easy
Yeah.
out. That matchup is a nightmare. Najee could have like 2 points.
Bigsby against the Raiders. I do like that.
He took a massive backseat to Travis
know he
Etienne in the
did.
last game. Snap share targets. He was the second fiddle by a long shot. The fact that his floor bottomed out is like he could have almost no points. I can't have that.
Yeah, you're right.
Like over like,
Well, he had
like
11.
Debo
He had
versus
11
Bigsby is like you
for-
got to go with the guy who's going to play on snaps. Like availability is a huge thing. McMillan for me is just like the guy he's getting red zone targets. If Otten were healthy, we have a question here. But Otten also played the other week, and Otten's out. And McMillan was great the other week with Otten out, and them being known as sort of a how are you going to stop Bucky and Rashad? I think
Play the
McMillan
heater.
has soft coverage. I think he's going to be the guy that's just like open all the time because he's the one guy they're like, we're going to let Jalen McMillan beat us, but not anybody else. And he might beat them.
So you're McMillan above Reed.
I'm McMillan above Pollard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far in my I can't do that. Even again, with the Colts.
When I saw Spears get all the targets in the passing game and he didn't have to.
Fair.
For me, Pollard is only worth it if he gets 18 touches and the targets. If he just gets the 18 touches, that O-line's not that good. He's extremely talented. We've seen his highlights. They're fantastic. But Pollard, for me, if he doesn't get in the end zone, McMillan will outscore him if Pollard doesn't score a touchdown. He needs the touchdown. This is hyper close, though, because I think Pollard is the more talented player.
Yeah, I do too.
But he is injured. He ceded all the passing game work, and Spears is good. McMillan has no backups. McMillan gets all the snaps. No one replaces him on the field. Where Pollard does have someone that can rest and kind of come in for him. And depending on the game script, that doesn't have to be a big game for him.
I'm trying to find a way to go against your particular way of thinking with this, just because I always like looking at the other side of it to see if I can find a way to trip you up and kind of change your thought.
Yeah, and you've been very good at that lately. You are very, very talented.
Been a lot better at it. But yeah, I can't go again. Yeah, I like McMillan here. I think he's a good choice.
I needed to see last week though.
Yeah,
I needed last week. It was meaningful. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I mean, I'm looking at what you were just saying about his particular on the field. He's 64% on the field, and that's almost higher I think that's higher than that's higher than Evans. Or no, it's tied with Evans. So you see him in on 2 wide receiver set. So yeah, I'm going McMillan for sure. If Pollard is inactive, but I do like Pollard otherwise. But if you feel the other way, I don't blame you. If Kendall swayed you to go that way there, Matty, I have no problem with that either. But I do like
or I could say this, depending on your matchup, look at your opposing team.
Yeah.
If I'm favored,
Well, would you
I am going Pollard if I'm favored because I do think he's safer. But if I think I need a big, I can tell you the amount of 20-point fantasy games are going to come from the McMillan side at a higher distribution than the Pollard side, in my opinion, because I think Pollard's a little bit capped because their offense, I think, is going to be dog shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're going to move the ball. In order to score a touchdown, you have to be in the red zone, right? For the most part, if you're running back, I don't know if they get there because their quarterback play could be so ridiculous. Here's what I'm saying.
I do like him.
I'll take the Baker Mayfield offense.
Yeah.
Because Baker
100%.
is offense. They're going to have go back to the kicker discussion, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that we're going McLaughlin as an option, because I think Boswell's the better kicker straight up, is because the offensive opportunities. I think Pollard's the better player. Okay. I'm going for the person who has the better quarterback and the better offense. Pollard has a shit. Do you want a running back and a bad offense in general?
No, but I think that Mason Rudolph can have a better opportunity. Like, he's a better person to run that particular offense as a whole. They did better with him as their QB when he was in the last few weeks. So
I can't get much worse, I suppose.
Well, it gives them a little opportunity to open things up. I mean, my other question was, he has Ford as well. So it's one of those situations where you could kick Ford out, put Pollard in, and then put McMillan in the flex. So, I mean, it's a question between, do you like Pollard and Ford?
So for me, Ford is like,
he's healthier. That's the only.
He's healthier, talented, and a pass catcher. Where like Pollard, Spears caught like 8 passes the other day. Ford gets all the carries and all the catches. He's Pollard plus McMillan all wrapped up in one, right? Because you've got concussion issues with Elijah Moore, and so Ford has to get involved a little bit more. It's a good question to bring up in terms of like people can get injured all the time. I kind of respect that for sure.
So, I mean, in this case, I think we're both on the same page of McMillan might be the best option for you at this point. And yeah, I think that's the only thing that we would switch.
Yeah. Hyper close. Close.
So Tyler Sperry, thank you so much for your contribution. We really do appreciate your super chat. Sorry that we took an extra minute. We were going over that, but we're going to take an extra minute for yours because this is a great question. So he goes, hold on. He says, start Myers.
Start Myers, Reed and Pacheco.
Okay, so start Myers or Reed, and Pacheco, Reed, or Spears if Pollard is out.
There you go.
All right.
I'm Myers over Reed for sure.
I'm Myers over Reed for sure. That's not even a question for me.
Yeah.
Especially with Aiden O'Connell coming back, I feel a little bit more.
Reed's faster, but Myers straight up is a better wide receiver. In terms of overall skill sets, it's actually not questionable for me. Like, Reed is
100%.
good at his skill set, but Myers is a very good wide receiver. He's been underrated for a long time.
And then Pacheco, Reed, or Spears if Pollard is out.
I'm going Spears if Pollard is out. Personally, I think only because the passing game worked like that. That last week was insane. If I can, and Spears is pretty good. I think he can average 4 yards a carry. If you're telling me he can get 15 carries plus 6-7 targets, like, their offense isn't working. They clearly liked the passing game the other day. Pacheco seems like he's splitting carries. Pacheco's not doing it for me.
And he's playing Saturday.
Like, I needed to see Pacheco with all the carries. What if Pacheco has 13 carries because he splits it with Hunt? That's a problem for me. Like,
so
it's between Reed or Spears.
So he said, sorry, I should say Pacheco, Spears, or Smith. I'm trying to think who Smith is. Oh, Devontae.
Devonta Smith?
I think so. There's no other. I don't know of a Smith as a running back. So I'm assuming.
I'm trying to think what other Smith there is.
No, it's Devontae. Has to be.
Devontae for sure there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Devontae is probably the guy that I want there, for sure. Especially if Pacheco, if Pollard's out, I would probably play Devontae over all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I get a soft spot for Spears, but it was a 1-game sample.
Yeah.
That offense could collapse. Smith's offense, I don't think collapses the same way. There's an argument for Pacheco over Spears because of that too.
Oh, geez. Tyler, you're killing me here. I think
No.
Miller's probably the better play here, too.
Oh, Kendra?
Yeah, it's Kendrick Miller. I mean, he's got
Kendra looks like a great play. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So Pollard out.
Well, we
play
see
Miller.
why you're in the playoffs. Your team is pretty good. I feel like that's the hardest job for me is like debating.
say
The later in the year it goes, the more you're like, everyone's such a good play. It's so thin. For me, it becomes a philosophy battle of like, here's what I believed. Am I going talent over this? Am I going opportunity over talent?
I mean, the only thing for me is Miller's going into a situation that he is going to be the lead in this particular team.
He might be RB1,
Packers.
receiver 1. They got nobody.
Well, the thing is that well, that's kind of my point. Is the Packers are a reasonably good defense. They have a good line overall. They have a really good overall grouping of guys that can play. I mean, Miller is going to eat. He's definitely a volume guy because of the fact that he is the only guy.
Miller's like a worse version.
But do you really want to be? Yeah, he's. I'm trying to think of a really good beer. Like, what's a really good beer? Kendrick Miller is like Natty Light to whatever, to whatever,
like
Kamara is. So, I mean, it's one of those scenarios where he's going to get volume. He's going to do well. His matchup is not that great. Packers are, they've kind of fallen off against the running back the last few weeks, but it's one of those scenarios before. Yeah, they're 24th against the running back. Ugh.
So if Pollard doesn't play in particular, we can narrow that out.
Yeah.
Miller or Spears.
So
if
Pollard doesn't play Miller or Spears, then kicker, Vikes or Arizona. Yeah, no. We'll get to the kicker. Don't worry. Kicker is kind of a secondary thing that we can pretty much tell you in a sec. The Miller Spears conversation. I mean, who do you feel better with? Again, would you rather face the Colts, who are currently 29th against the running back, or would you rather go with Miller in a?
That's my tiebreaker. Is I think the Colts D is much more. You can expose them a little bit. I think the touchdown upside is greater. I'm leaning. I just want to play against the Colts D if I can.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
Because particularly at the running back position, I feel like matchup matters more at RB than it does at wide receiver in terms of team defense versus wide receiver is more about individual matchups. And if I can, I'm going to lean towards and into the philosophy that if you have a sort of weak running defense, any running back in the NFL can have a big game against a bad run defense. They're all pretty good. And in this case, they get all the volume plus a bad matchup. I like that more. I'm going to lean that way. And if it matters, Tyler, I'm with you because I am actually taking this advice myself and going with the matchup over what I feel is honestly talent.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tony Pollard put 93 yards a touchdown against them in the beginning of the year and did pretty well overall. He was 14th running back on the week. If you think Spears can be that person, I'm on board with that. I'm not totally high on either one of these guys, to be quite honest. Miller to me has always just had one injury every 10 days.
Spears for me feels like, remember at the beginning of the season, they were talking about RB1, RB2 basically splitting time, but Spears was the pass catcher. Spears is a good pass catcher. We know him as a good pass catcher.
Hold on one sec. I'm a little confused. So he goes, so if Pollard plays, Miller, but if he's out, Spears.
If Pollard plays, Pollard.
Yeah. You're playing Pollard over Miller.
Like I would personally, I'm leaning Jalen McMillan over Kendra Miller because over Pollard too. Okay, Tyler, let me be clear. This is me personally. I like Jalen McMillan because I like elite upside. I just think the upside for McMillan in an offense.
Wrong question.
Why is it wrong?
Yeah, this is Tyler's question.
Pure
Not-
RBs here then.
Yeah. So it's just Pacheco, Reed, or Spears, and or Miller. And he's asking if Pollard is playing, or if Pollard plays.
Because Kamara's definitely like he's
No,
out. He's out for the season.
Yeah,
That
he's
we
out.
all know that's happening. No, I'm going Pollard. Pollard has had veteran rest days basically every Thursday, so we're not looking at it. He's had veteran rest days on Friday. He's still played and he's been very efficient.
Yeah.
I'm going Pollard over everything if he's healthy.
Yes.
Personally, again, I was talking about a different question. I had the McMillan thing, but if we're just talking about these RBs, Pollard
these
for
two.
sure.
Yeah.
Miller is good, but he's not an amazing pass catcher. Not to the same level that Pollard is. Not the same talented player that Pollard is. If Pollard plays, also Pollard's healthy. They have options.
Yeah.
They can just make Pollard out, right? Let's talk about the injury if that matters to you, Tyler. Right? The idea is they have no reason to play Pollard if he's just too unhealthy to play, right?
Yeah.
So if they play him, he's getting everything. But they're going to give the passing down work to Spears, and that's fine. But Pollard, when he's on, is a 100-yard rusher, 5 yards a carry, and
100%.
he's extremely good. That upside alone, if he's healthy, if he's just questionable early on, he's elite. He's just that good. Kendra's never going to be a running back the same type of Pollard, even matchup aside. So, no, Pollard's really, really good. And if he's healthy, feel confident starting Pollard. I don't think you need to have this hesitation if Pollard's healthy. He's going to be fantastic. He has been. Just look at his track record, but don't look at his production. Look at his matchups. He's had bad matchups, and he's still been Tony Pollard. Then look at his highlights. He is elite talent-wise.
But if Pollard's out, who are you playing? You're going Spears?
I am going Spears purely based on pass catching.
Hold on. Well, so no, sorry. I meant if Pollard plays, you would play Miller over Spears. I don't have Pollard. Pollard hasn't practiced all week.
Which one is the matchup again?
Well, but that's my whole point. You have to.
It's whoever's playing Indy.
Yeah, it's
Indy's defense is god awful.
play whoever plays Indy. That's your best bet.
At running back, like that's a player tight ends against the Giants.
Yeah,
player running backs against Indy.
Yeah, that's where the confusion is. I think if Pollard plays, you're playing him. If Pollard is out, play Spears. That's kind of.
Oh yeah, I thought I was contradicting myself at first. I'm like, did I take?
No,
I'm like, no. I want Pollard / Spears. I want all of that game. I want all of that. Spears is already a decent running back, but you put him against if everything. Like, here's the thing: Pollard could have a good game, and Spears could have a good game if they both play. That's a real thing that could happen.
Yeah.
If you take one of them out, yes, sign me up and sign me up way over anybody on the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, 100%. So let's go to Ginger Baby. What's going on, man? I love the name. He goes Mooney, D-Hop, or Calvin Ridley. I think for me, it's Calvin Ridley.
Wow, you kind of have to go with the targets, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have said Mooney with Cousins based on history, but it's such an anomaly at this point.
I'm going Ridley just because I clearly know what I'm getting with Ridley and Rudolph because they've already played together, and Ridley's been fantastic.
I just want to make sure I have him over Hopkins.
And I have, the Colts defense is definitely beatable, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I got Mooney over Hopkins.
I definitely have
Ridley. Yeah, I've got Ridley the highest by actually quite a bit. I didn't realize Ridley's my wide receiver 29.
Yeah,
Mooney's my wide receiver 30. Yeah, it's Ridley. The Indy matchup really is exploitable.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning again. I'm leaning into it.
Yep, definitely. The Trig, what's going on, brother? He goes, pick one: Ramondre Stevenson or Ken Walker or Patrick Taylor or Tajay Spears if Pollard is out.
Pollard is not going to be out, by the way. It's not.
I don't
happen.
think so. We'll wait and see. But yeah,
Patrick Taylor's going to split with Izzy, I think.
Vikings have a good matchup with Walker. Stevenson's going against the Bills, who I don't want to go against.
I actually like the Stevenson for PPR.
Well,
it's non-PPR.
Remember, it's non-PPR.
I didn't see the non.
So if we're going with pure touchdown upside
this is
here.
Standard. Oh, buddy boy. It's so hard not to go Walker in standard, though.
Yeah, I mean, he can fall off a cliff like we saw a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I'm
what
going
nervous about.
Spears if Pollard's out. I'm going to start there because
this
he has the
whole group,
backfield
really?
alone. Over who?
Interesting. Over everybody here, Stevenson,
Yeah.
Walker,
Yeah.
Patrick Taylor, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a bold take. I don't think I would do that. I would probably lean Stevenson, just because of his involvement in that offense, and he's been playing well as of late. I have him ranked as running back 22 at the moment. Let's see what he did. Did he play? Oh, he hasn't even played Buffalo yet. He's been in the top 20 the last, or top 25.
PPR too?
No, this is half, but still, even with half scoring it, he's fine.
I just look at non-PPR. It's like it's touchdown or bust.
He just hasn't had a touch. He hasn't had a touchdown, which could mean he's due. That
could be.
I mean, that's the only upside I see from it. But I don't hate the Spears pick. You do have time.
I just think
that game's at 4.
Literally nothing going on outside of Spears, and the last game.
Yeah, I'm not going Patrick Taylor.
Definitely not Patrick Taylor.
Yeah,
Walker scares the absolute crap. If I narrowed it down to Walker Stevenson, who would you have?
Well, seeing that, and that's kind of my point. The Vikings matchup scares me a little bit, but teams have been able to run on them the last few weeks.
Yeah.
My
initial reaction was Stevenson, and then I saw non-PPR, and I got scared off. But honestly,
no, I'm gonna go Stevenson.
It might be Stevenson. Let me just look.
I feel a little bit better about it.
I gotta pull up my actual rankings and apply my points to them. I try to go off the cuff because then for me it's it's a good learning assignment. Ginger baby, oh my goodness!
What up, Ginger baby? Thank you for your contribution. He goes, I have Ridley, Mooney, Hopkins, Walker, Pollard, and Spears. My lord. So he goes, I'm trying to fill.
Jesus, you got a week ahead of you, man.
Fill my files. Fill my flexes and wide receiver 3. I'm on Hopkins or Ridley upside in.
Hopkins is not getting 12 targets.
No, Hopkins won't get what
Not a
Ridley
chance.
gets. Flex. Okay, cool. Yeah. I understand people aren't always great with these because you're typing on your phone and fat fingered, and believe me, I do that all the time. But okay.
Yeah.
So
Hopkins has to be out, right? Because we're talking 2 viable running backs to poach touchdowns. Travis Kelce.
Hopkins is out.
Juju caught a touchdown and is healthy again. Hopkins was awesome. Remember when the offense was Hopkins and Worthy wasn't even on the field?
Hopkins just for that reason, and he won me a couple weeks.
Worthy is starting to outscore Hopkins.
But now that Brown is coming back, he's going to be a little bit more involved. So now they have think about this whole team 3 years ago or 4 years ago. DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster all on the same roster. So they have a decent. Oh, he's going with the narrative here.
The revenge narrative?
He's going to the revenge game narrative against Houston.
No, he's too classy. He's not that guy. And honestly,
well, it's not them. It's
he wants a ring. He doesn't. If he's winning in that game doesn't matter. They're going to win a Super Bowl this year, right? In his mind, that's what they're doing, right? Do you want to play really hard in a game that doesn't matter, or do you want to make sure you don't sacrifice anything for that playoff run? The Chiefs are the team that does not care about the regular season, and they already have it locked up.
But they want to win either way because they get home field advantage.
But I think D-Hop's the guy that's D-Hop would rather sit out the next 2 games and be fresh for the playoffs. He doesn't care about the regular season. It doesn't matter to him.
He doesn't play a lot anyway. They kind of just phase him in every so often. So I'm not really too worried about that, to be quite honest. I get the hesitation with Ridley. Last time he faced Indy, he was 8 targets, 0 catches, and put up a goose egg. So I get it.
Different quarterback.
But it's a different quarterback, exactly.
He's the wide receiver 1, and he will be hyper targeted by a new quarterback.
Well, I was going to say, if you look at his particular stats after that, he goes from 46, 14, 32, and then to wide receiver 3. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I can understand those particular situations. Hopkins definitely has the better quarterback. There's no doubt. We're not,
That's fair.
And
a quarterback
Mahomes
that's doing very few completions, though.
Let's just be clear. He was talking about the concept that if you're not playing Hopkins, then Mahomes probably is sitting too. No, they're playing everybody. and it's a little scary and a little bit.
I wouldn't rule it out that he doesn't play the fourth quarter, or neither of them play the
Oh,
fourth
for sure.
quarter.
But at the same time, that's if they're up. And Houston is a pretty gritty, gritty team in general.
That's fair.
They're gonna stay. I mean, come on. Kansas City is the luckiest team in the league. They're 12-1, and they
There's some
really,
YouTube videos
really
in
shouldn't
that
be.
team, man. I looked at them. That's pretty crazy.
They won how many by one, by one score or by 1 point or something like that. Like, they are incredibly lucky. I'm all on board with, in this particular case, I rather have Ridley just because I trust it. I understand what's there, and Mason Rudolph, as bad as he is still going to be involved. Darnell Mooney, I don't trust yet with Penix, even though I do like Penix. I think that we're still unsure. I think London is definitely a better option overall. Kenneth Walker coming back from injury. I mean, he did practice in full, so he's good to go. They said there's everything, everything's fine. It's, it's the defense. They're facing the Vikings, who are very good overall. They're going to have to involve him in the passing game. So I could see Kenneth Walker doing very well in this particular matchup. I prefer Ridley over Hopkins for sure.
I think so. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it is close. I mean, I do like that Hopkins has more red zone upside than I think Ridley does to some extent, because if they're in the red zone, I think Hopkins is good at being in the red zone. He's savvy. Ridley's awesome in the red zone, but with the worst quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, Hopkins has played good. There's just so many. I look at this from a projectable standpoint. I look at it like, if Hopkins has a big game, that means Worthy had a bad game. Kelsey had a bad game. The running backs didn't do much. Mahomes had a big game. Mahomes hasn't had many big games. They played close games. They want to run the ball. They want to be a defensive team. I just mentioned 200 mouths to feed. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad player, and I'm not saying the Chiefs aren't a good offense. I'm saying that there are so many ways that he doesn't have to be great. Where I look at Ridley, and I'm like, yes, he had 0 catches on 8 targets. They were terrible.
You're not playing Worthy.
Yeah, that's not happening.
You not play Worthy.
But like, I see an alpha wide receiver one. I think he's talented. I don't think watching the games, and I'll be the first person to admit, I haven't been watching every snap of Calvin Ridley. Definitely haven't been doing that, right? Not a big Titans guy. But from what I have seen, his targets are close to catchable, but it's just they're not perfect, and the defender makes a better play. But he's still earning a lot of targets. He's open for windows. There's nobody else there. Banged up running game we've already mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. So, and an exploitable defense. With, honestly, if their defense is bad, where do you think is the bigger like pop-off game? Do you see this game being like what if the Colts decide not to play defense and the Titans don't play defense? Like, what if it ends up being a high-scoring affair? The Chiefs are a high-scoring team. How many high-scoring affairs have they had this year?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean,
really happen. So, like, I think there's a bigger argument.
Would you play Ridley or Spears or Ridley. Pollard? Like, let's just go Ridley or Pollard.
Full PPR?
I'm assuming so.
Generally, I'm going to go with the wide receiver over the running back almost every time, unless it's an RB1.
Okay, so he needs his flex and wide receiver 3. So wide receiver 3 for me is Ridley without a problem. If you're going to go next with Kenneth Walker and Pollard and or Spears. So we're going to put anybody that asks questions with Pollard and Spears, we're going to put them in one big bubble, because I think we both agree that I think Spears can play in that spot and be fine. So would it be Kenneth Walker or Tony Pollard / Spears? Or Mooney or Hopkins? Like, would you play any of those guys if it's full PPR?
Actually, a consoler. I don't know. I'm going to pull mine up.
To give you perspective, Hopkins has averaged 5.1 targets per game, going from, let's go 6 or 4 weeks back or 5 weeks back.
Yeah, I'm going Pollard.
6.99.
If Pollard's healthy, he's playing against the Indianapolis Colts, 100%. And I'm taking him. Next to him, I'm taking Spears if he's out.
It's half
if they're
PPR.
Both healthy, I'm taking Pollard still over Walker.
Yeah, I agree with that. So for me, it's Ridley for sure, and then Pollard I agree. So,
And I hope we're doing a decent job of like, I at least want to make sure we're explaining our takes, I guess, because there's a difference between what we feel and versus the philosophy behind it. So definitely let us know if you have a this versus that in a philosophical way, I suppose.
yeah, for sure. So not all sweet and sour chicken over here. What's going on, brother? Thank
What
you
a
so
name,
much for your
baby.
contribution. He goes second place here. He has Kyler Murray or Sam Darnold. So let's get that one out of the way.
Sam Darnold.
I think I'm going to have to lean Sam Darnold against the Seahawks. I like that matchup.
He looks like a better football player.
Yeah.
Some of those throws he's making and the way he's making them, the confidence that he's doing to throw in the red zone in tight windows. Yeah, he's feeling himself in a way that is unspeakable.
Yeah, I have Sam Darnold at 7 and Kyler Murray at 11 in my rankings, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I'm similar 7-12, yeah.
So flexing D-Hop or Rashad White?
I like D-Hop here.
I don't hate
PPR,
I actually
though.
don't hate Rashad White here.
I'll take White in half, though.
I was going to say I would prefer – so not all sweet and sour chicken over here. Let us know if it's half or full for this. For me, if it's half, I'm definitely going White. I think White has more upside. I'm in a situation where I'm in a half PPR league, and I have the choice between these two, and I'm going White without a problem. Thank you, Frank. Glad to see you here, my friend. I miss you. And we will get Kendall involved with that ASAP, I promise. But for now, half PPR, I have this exact same situation. So I'm going Rashad White. If I was in full, I'd feel a little bit better about Rashad White as well, just because he's a lot more involved in the passing game.
I just looked at my rankings, too. I'm so wrong. Apparently, I buried D-Hop a little bit.
I've got
like
D-Hop at 39 or something like that. Yeah.
I've got Rashad White all day there. Even the revenge, it feels like I want to revisit the Hopkins thing to see why he's so buried in my rankings, but I really do have everyone higher than him.
The Houston defense in their secondary, they're actually pretty good. It's a run funnel defense where
it should be a low scoring team with a bunch of weapons, right?
They have a really
we're not
good
seeing a
pass rush.
ceiling game, right?
I mean, this game is 42.5.
Wow.
And
yeah,
but that's I think
Vegas
that
says it's run.
Well, Mixon's going to be running the ball. They're going to try to keep Mahomes off the field. I mean, that's part of the defense. I mean, D'Amico Ryans is a smart defensive coach. They're going to do all they can to, do it, keep him off the field. So, like I said, for me, it's Darnold. I think we both agreed, and Rashad White. So, not all sweet and sour sauce over here. Thank you so much for your contribution. We really do appreciate it. Everyone that has been giving us super chats. I mean, we really appreciate all the love here. So thank you so much. Let's go with Smokey the Cat. He goes, "What's your favorite football to watch if you do?" So he's talking about football.
Yeah.
I mean, I love watching any Premier League. Mostly the English Premier Leagues. I don't mind watching Serie A or La Liga. I have no problem watching those either. I prefer when we get into UEFA and start watching, both teams, all those teams go. But of course, World Cup is always a fun time when that comes out. So I like all of it.
No question. World Cup 1, Champions League number 2. Absolutely. Love the Champions League. We'll go UEFA Cup after that. If it's between the Spanish Primera and the EPL, I think I like watching the game itself, no commentary in the Primera. I like that brand of football a little bit better. It's what I like to play personally, a little more ticky-tack, a little more finesse. I wasn't a big let's run it down the wings and cross it 700 times. I get the EPL is a much more elevated version, but especially when I watch the MLS, we just have not learned in this country from a coaching perspective how to do it. And I'm pretty close to it. I've got a lot of people in that field. Phil's obviously. Hopefully I will get Phil on here a little bit, but I think in terms of actually watching it though, the matchups and the rivalries and in the EPL make it a little more excitable to watch.
Sure.
I would still say the Primera over the EPL, but it's really close. EPL a good matchup in the EPL is better than a good matchup in the Primera, but an average matchup in the Primera is better than the EPL. That's what I would say.
Okay. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
And I don't really watch too much Serie A, to be honest with you, man.
I don't either, but I have a lot of people that are Italian fans that really
Like-
love it, and I get involved with it every so often. But
I'm an Inter Milan guy if I had to.
yeah, there you go. I was gonna say I
Maybe
like
a little Roma.
Manchester. Well, I like a little bit of everything in the Premier League too. So I like people on Chelsea. I like people on Man U. I like Man City people. Like I like all of it. So it's hard for me to pick. So Andrew goes T. Higgins or Terry McLaurin.
This is an injury prone. I need to see what T. Higgins' status is, but I'm
He's
gonna go
fine.
T.
He's good to go.
I'm going T. I'm actually legitimately scared of the Eagles' secondary, particularly their corners.
Yeah, I'm going T. Higgins too. I don't think that's a question for me. Standard league. So another standard league. Starting Jaden Daniels. Also have Terry. So thinking of starting Marvin Harrison Jr. Thoughts? Thank you. I wouldn't get cute with this. Well,
what's your opponent's scoring situation? Because with you going for the stack, right? If Jaden has sort of an off game, so does Terry. So what do you need from this game?
Yeah, and Kyler going against who are they going against? Kyler going against.
I gotta look at the matchup right off the top of my head.
Going against the Panthers. I don't hate that matchup.
There should be some good red zone looks for him in that matchup.
The hard part is he's just been so inconsistent lately, Marvin Harrison Jr. It's so hard to trust him. I do have him ranked pretty low at 32, comparatively to Terry, who I have at 15. So I feel a little bit better about it, but it is a tough matchup. So I'm trying to lower expectations here. I'm
gonna ride or die. If you're starting Jaden, I'm gonna ride with we got you here, right? Yeah. Like
you had
Jaden's big game means Terry's big game means you win. I think that the statistical correlation says that ceiling performances are statistically better for you than going for floor performances. And I think in this case, Terry, because you're starting Jaden, is a more important matchup to stack. If Jaden has a terrible game, you're most likely not advancing over a competent opponent for the most part. So because you're already assuming Jaden has a good game, even in a tough matchup, I think because of some correlation plays, I'm going to have to go Terry because I want ultimate correlated upside. And I just, MHJ isn't enough of a differentiator for me to really think 100%. Otherwise across that correlation. I think is the best way to describe it.
It's a tough matchup, but I think that you can do well pairing those two. I think is kind of what you're going with. I don't normally do this just because I like to stick with the order that we're doing, but Nino has a really good question. Terry McLaurin or Brian Robinson at the flex.
PPR, half PPR. Nino, I hate to say it, but I do want to know.
Just a friendly reminder for everybody. Just make sure you guys are using full half. It really helps because in scenarios like this, I'm going B-Rob. But if
in this case, it's close enough that I'm probably going B-Rob either way.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good, Nino. I just like letting people know. We haven't reminded people in about an hour and a half.
I gotta go B-Rob either way though. So sorry to make you say it, Nino. It doesn't change.
No, you're fine.
But we gotta think through it a little bit because we think through this even outside of our rankings because you guys change your minds sometimes. Classic has changed my mind multiple times and vice versa.
I think here I'm still going B-Rob and it's more guarantee of
touchdown upside so much bigger.
Eagles defense overall is great. So it's kind of hard for us to take that matchup and be a variable to be involved with. Rankings wise, I have both of these guys pretty much around the same spot that you would want them in. So I have Terry at 15 and I have Brian Robinson Jr. at 17. And I do these in half PPR. So whenever you see our rankings on our website, it is always in half. So in this case, Brian Robinson seems to be a better option. I'd rather have the guarantee than the unguarantee of what we had last time. I'm trying to remember if he played in this game. He did. Last time he played in this game, he finished as RB13. So I feel a lot better about that. Knowing that, I mean, Eagles front is incredible. They definitely go with, let's get big guys on both sides of the D line. I don't care if they're good or bad. I want them to be, 300 pounds and 6'8". So, yeah. So Nino, not a problem. That's how I would go in that scenario. I'll get to your other question in a minute. I do want to get to the other guys that asked us questions well before that. We did kind of answer this before, but we didn't have Pat Fryermuth. So I'm going to answer your question and then go back up. I'm sorry for those that I skipped. Full PPR with Brenton Strange, Kincaid, or Patrick Fry. Or sorry, Pat Fryermuth. My bad.
It's been a long day, man.
It's been a long day. I'm getting tired.
We're not changing, right?
No. I
You
think
both
it's
said
gonna stick
Kincaid,
with
right?
Kincaid. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Kincaid.
If Kincaid disappeared tomorrow, I think we're going Strange over Fryermuth.
Yeah, I mean that order. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I've got Fryermuth a good kind of tier below those guys in terms of upside. Already a tough matchup too for Fryermuth.
For sure. The Trig, what's going on, man? He goes, kicker question for you guys. Cardi, who is for the Rams, McManus, who is Packers, Patterson, who is, where is he now? Oh God, these kickers change teams all the time. Hold on. Especially these guys near the bottom. McManus is definitely more the guy I'm leaning here. He is.
I honestly forget who Patterson.
Hold on, give me a minute. Oh, he's on Atlanta. Okay, so he's playing.
He's the fill-in for. I get you.
All right, I forgot about that. I didn't have him ranked yet.
Poor young Waiku, man. Too, man. Damn.
You killing. It's killing me. Ricard Rylan is on his roster. Well, I know that Matt Prater is currently on the. His practice window's opening to come back, so I don't know if he comes back this game or not, or if they rely on him or not. I do have Chad pretty middle of the road right now. Patero or Moody. After that, I have McManus ranked higher than all these guys.
Yeah, that matchup looks pretty chalk. They should score at will.
Well, see, here's the nuance of picking kickers. This is why I like talking about it, because you can't really go with the guy that with a good offense. You want a guy that's on a team with an offense that's good enough to get you to the red zone, and that fails. So you want a good offense, but not a good scoring offense. So
I think I like Green Bay's offense to score less but get close than Minnesota's offense with JJ and Aaron Jones and also Addison and also TJ and also whoever else they have. I'm going to go with the one-note offense that can get shut down faster, and I think that's McManus for me.
Yeah.
I think they should move the ball readily, but because all it takes is Jacobs to have a bad third down run at 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and it's, I guess we'll chip shot it because we don't have to push for it. I could see them easily just scoring a lot of field goals late in the game too, because they just don't have to push for it.
Oh, agreed. And honestly, Ricard is the only other guy that I really like, just because the matchup against Seattle makes me think that Minnesota can get down the field but get stopped at like the 30. And then
Seattle's defense is competent. Yeah,
they're definitely competent. So for me, I mean, where are they at? Are they at home? Where are they? Are they at Are they at MetLife? Or are they at
Minnesota?
No, Atlanta. Oh, they're in Atlanta. Oh, Patterson.
Game.
Patterson. Done. Like I don't even have to think about that one. Yeah, go with the dome. If you're gonna go, most times the dome is going to be the tiebreaker.
I think I'm still going McManus only because here's my tiebreaker. I think Green Bay turns the ball.
Well, McManus has the leg too.
Well, I'm even forgetting the leg. I'm just saying I think Green Bay for me is my number one defense. I think they're going to obliterate New Orleans. I think there's going to be a lot of situations where Rattler turns the ball over already within field goal kicking range.
Okay.
And it's just rush for nothing, rush for nothing, rush for nothing.
I mean, these are great
turnover
options.
Rush for nothing, rush for nothing, rush for nothing, kick. You know what I mean? I'm saying the defense wins me. The kicking matchup is where I'm saying that's why I like Green Bay's kicker, because I think they're going to constantly be in the zone of being able to kick a viable field goal because of their defense just takes the ball away from New Orleans and their incompetent offense. They have nobody to push the ball downfield. They got an inexperienced quarterback. They got no run game and nothing to play for. I want to see that kicker because he has all the upside and all the field position.
Yeah, I'm going to take Cardi out of this equation. I'm taking Pinheiro out of this equation. Mooney, I'm still not sold on. I do like him, but unfortunately, in certain situations, he tends to buckle. I do like McManus. He has a good leg. Patterson, I like as well. I like his particular scenario because he's going against the Giants in Atlanta, in the Dome. So I prefer that a little bit more than kicking out in Green Bay. Just because of the weather and all that. Rylan, I don't hate, but you just got to double check prior to the game to see if Prater is upgraded, because then they might not use him. And I don't hate Reinark. So I think I'm going to stay with McManus like I was, even though I like Patterson and in the Dome. No, you know what? I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with Patterson. They're in the Dome.
Patterson's my 2 over Rijkaard.
Yeah, because
so if they really believe in the Dome, I'm going to second the Dome.
Well, beyond the Dome
thing, it's this Dome plus matchup. You get everything.
Penix, as much as we think that he could be able to run that particular offense and do well in it, he could stall. He could stall, and they could depend on the run game. Which
well, screw Penix. What if Bijan is good in between the tackles?
And that's even still my point, is that the offense can run effectively. So all they need to do is get to at least the 20 or 30. And the Giants they're not good, but they can still stop people because they can.
If I told you Bijan's going to do a dive right, you want to try and stop it? Hey, we did it this time.
Yeah.
All right, I guess you get 3 this time.
I just like the consistency of a Dome kicker, and he does have the ability to go 50. McManus does too. Mm-hmm. I like depending on a guy that can average the 40. Like I want a high average 40 guy with a decent average 50 guy. McManus is definitely a higher average 50 guy. He's just in a weather game. I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad game. I haven't looked at the weather for Lambeau yet, but Patterson to me just seems like a better option. But
do you have to look at the weather in Lambeau? You
honestly,
already know
I think you can go between those two, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bryce Long, what's going on, brother? He goes start Hall, Garrett Wilson, or Jennings. It's Hall, and
I think it's Hall.
It's more guarantee.
If it's full PPR and Hall tweaks in pre, maybe, but I love Garrett Wilson. Believe me, I love it's not Juwan Jones. I love Garrett Wilson, but that last game was telling that his ceiling is a little bit lower this year. And Breece Hall should be. If we forget last week ever happened, Breece Hall's the healthiest. He's extremely talented. He helps the team move the chains a lot. He should have more red zone looks than the wide receivers in general based on this position. And he's a pass catcher, and he'll be healthier than he was last week, which was serviceable. I think this is a clear Breece Hall. This seems classic. Do you think seems harder than it really is because Breece Hall's had sort of an up and down last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
But you just look at he's healthy, and it's always all season it would have been Breece Hall over Garrett Wilson. It's only somewhat recently that Breece Hall took a little bit of a step back, but he's fine now.
And I don't hate Juwan Jennings either, but with my assumption with him being included in this conversation, it must be a full PPR league just because of that. I appreciate that there, the trig. I usually go with him, or I usually go there, or I go to another group. I have a couple sites that I follow.
Classic has all the good, but you should be hitting Classic up. He's helped me up with so many little things that I didn't know existed. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I go all over the place for some stuff. In this case, I think I'm going to go Hall. I feel it feels safer. Rams right now are 20th against the running back in points scored. So I'm good with that. I'd rather go with Hall.
It's like a floor ceiling combo, like delineation too.
Robert Thomas, he goes full PPR, Miller, Charbonnet, or Tracy.
Charbonnet, you got to take this, man. You're the biggest Tracy guy here, so I got to hear your take.
I'm not the biggest Tracy guy.
Well, you should know more about him, I should say. Let's put it that way.
Slightly more. Charbonnet's out of this equation for me. We talked at nauseum about Kendrick Miller already. Tracy for me is currently 26 compared to Miller at 28, so they're kind of in the same tier. Atlanta's defense currently is top of the pack since week 10.
Yeah,
they
pass
are
rush is mean. Well,
Well,
I said
they're
their pass rush, but their ability to pressure
their
any sort
defense
of play.
is
They
good.
like blitzing lately. We'll put it that way.
Well, because they have to, because they're in
Their secondary
situations.
is god awful. Yeah.
But Green Bay is a little bit leaky against the running back. But in that scenario, like we talked about with Spencer Rattler, you put 8 in the box and you just stuff Miller. Like that's all
He's
you
going to
can
have a
do.
bad day unless he catches 10 passes, which he won't. But Tracy already has shown that this season.
Kendrick Ellis is another person that you need to worry about for the Atlanta Falcons. He's very good and can cover both ends of the field. So I do think Tracy might have a rough day just because of that. But Drew Lock does like to check down and so on and so forth. So I don't hate Tracy.
Kendrick could split with CEH more than we'd like to.
We could, yeah. And, I had a question that I saw later in this whole thing. Is Jamal Williams going to be involved? I think everyone's going to be involved in one way or another. I think they're going to try to I think that's a running back by committee more than what people
like
think.
what the Jets did when they were all banged up. It was kind of an all over the place.
So I think if you want to go based on volume, it's Tracy. But
honestly, talent too. I think
he's a lot more talented.
My tiebreaker is always, if you ever do it's the NFL, who the hell knows? I'm going to go with the player I know is more talented because that's the easiest for me to spot. And Tyrone Tracy is a objectively fantastic football player. We scouted him pretty heavily. I like the converted wide receiver because he can catch 10 passes.
He's questionable too.
He's been questionable his entire career on the Giants, though. I mean,
no injury.
I do mean injury. I mean, I do think he's been banged up for quite some time. He plays every single time. Is his injury anything serious though?
I'm just looking at his. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, I like it.
I didn't.
I'm gonna go Tracy. No, he's good. He's labeled as questionable, but he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he has a pretty bad matchup too. I mean, to be fair, but for me, like this is weird. This is a good compliment.
Even
to
if
you.
the Giants,
I like the Giants as an organization over the Saints right now. The Saints seem just like god awful at everything. They win a few more games at this point, but that's mostly due to their defense.
Oh, Trig. Okay, so that's good to hear. I thought I saw something about him coming back. I'm assuming I'm grabbing either McManus or Patterson. I want Patterson in these scenarios here, but thankfully, 3-mile-an-hour winds is nothing. So
they could change pretty quickly, though, right? So it's like keep an eye. If you could guarantee me 3-mile-an-hour wind and it's fine in thin air, make it happen. But
I don't hate either of these guys. I think both are very doable. I don't like. I think Ryland is the odd man out of this group. If we're really, but they're facing Carolina, so that's the harder part. They are in Carolina. It's gonna be really cold there too. Big cold spurt coming through everywhere. So yeah, it's a tough one. Honestly, those guys are. I mean, I have them all ranked pretty much in the same spot, if you will. Ryland at 15. I have McManus at 10. Riley at 8. So. I mean, it's definitely Patterson or McManus. It's really just how do you feel about them kicking in a dome or outside? And if you feel like McManus can kick a 50 and, do it consistently and, or do you feel like Penix is going to get the team down the field but not score? There's a lot of different thought processes that you have to have with with these particular kickers. So, yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there for you.
Fair to say we're like fully split in terms of
completely
coin flip between the two. Please do take whatever you think. Patterson, I think, is the least risky option in terms of a gust of wind randomly affecting something in Green Bay has happened all the damn time.
You have nothing to worry about in a dome. Yeah. So what are we doing? Miller or Tracy? I think I'm going to go Tracy.
I'm going Tracy all day. I really believe in Tracy as the talent. He's like my second coming of a few running backs that has never made it from that converted wide receiver category. And there's just something about I don't know, as fantasy players, there's something endearing about a running back that can garner 10 targets. That is so rare. There's RB1s with no 10 targets. Jonathan Taylor's pretty good running back, right? He will never have 10 targets in his entire career. The fact that that's possible for a running back, there are some running backs that catch a lot of passes that don't hit 10 targets. That just there's something to that I can't unsee, and it's an unlockable ceiling that's game script proof. Like, who likes watching a running back where it's the third quarter and it's already over?
Yeah.
There's Kendra Miller's one of those running backs where it could be the third quarter and it's already over for you. It's just not happening. Tyrone Tracy can do. Remember the Ramondre Stevenson? Like,
oh yeah, he has the ability
points,
to actually.
But
be
then he
involved.
caught 5 for 50 and a touchdown in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I see Tyrone Tracy as that type of a guy. That's the guy I'm going to write a title with.
Yeah, I like it. Next we got Derek. He goes full people. Oh no, I didn't answer Rob's other question. Penix, Rodgers, or Caleb? Who are you sitting?
I'm going to go jump off a cliff first.
I think we're both going to agree on the same guy. It's Caleb.
Yeah, you're sitting Caleb.
You're sitting Caleb. I'm sorry. You are definitely sitting.
I'm leaning Rodgers as the start. Best talent. Brees
you're starting both of those guys. You're starting. Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, sit one. You're starting to. Yeah, PPR. Yeah. SF.
So Derek goes full PPR, flex 1, Shakir or McMillan. And now we already heard your take on McMillan, so I know how you feel about him. But what about adding Shakir to it?
Shakir has been great. Injuries for Buffalo. What do we got?
None for Shakir.
They're all lined up. It should be a good running game for Buffalo.
I'm going Shakir.
Shakir is definitely safer by a quarter mile.
Yeah. I like him a lot more. 7, 8, 8, or sorry, 12, 7, 8, and 7 in targets the last 4 weeks. And 9 prior to that.
I don't think he's dropped a pass yet.
He has, but not anything crazy. So
yeah,
and he has 2 touchdowns in the last
I think it's
weeks.
like definitely Shakir.
Yeah, it's definitely Shakir. I'm not even going to think twice. I understand
Shakir's a better version of McMillan, to be honest. They're actually kind of similar. Yeah, and definitely a higher over-under for sure. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Shakir here. So thanks, Derek. We appreciate it. Colin, he goes, any suggestions for touchdown scorers? I'm thinking JT, James Conner, or for sure maybe Barkley. Barkley is a must in that matchup. So if you're going to go
like
anyone
a
else,
DFS question or like a sports.
No,
question.
that's a sports betting question. I'm going to go James Conner, but definitely Barkley.
Yeah, well, JT only gets vultured by his quarterback, but honestly, the team is not going to have the quarterback rush in because if their quarterback gets injured on a rushing touchdown,
well, they
all get fired at that point. I like JT because I think JT is going to have more carries than James Conner. They're going to have to find a way to get Conner just off the field. They're going to have to.
They
don't want to.
I think
but
DJ Dallas is their only backup.
Yeah, it's not much. It's one of those when there's a lack of options to that degree. I always find that teams usually just implode offensively versus like, oh, well, he'll get 40 carries. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it should be all Conner all day, and it might. I also think there's a big deal that the team is actually going to say, hey, we really need to get McBride a touchdown. This is bullshit. Like
they need to.
The news. That's a big deal. JT is the guy who's like the safest to get like literally 30 carries in every snap of everything. I'm going to go JT because not only score for 1, but he's the best running back. JT is a better running back than Conner. No one's going to argue that, right? Even James Conner is going to say that it's Jonathan Taylor. He's,
I just like the matchup against the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's the only thing is that the matchup against the Cardinals is pretty fantastic. I'm starting the Cardinals defense everywhere, so I think they're going to get some turnovers that lead to some J's.
I hope so, but I actually switched them for the Texans. Texans have been high scoring even against good offenses. So
that's fair. That's honestly a really tough question and a pretty good one. I'm sticking to my guns here on my philosophy, but that's not far off.
Okay. We got the Trig asking us Muth or Strange in non-PPR. So who do you think scores a touchdown?
Strange. I don't think Muth has a chance in hell at scoring a touchdown.
I
don't think there's many touchdowns in that game, but the way that team scores touchdowns is not in the red zone. In the red zone, they run, kick a field goal. That offense scores 40-yard bombs or they rush a touchdown. Muth is not in the realm of like.
Yeah, I'm going to go Strange.
It accidentally happens. Strange is a guy they'll pass it to whenever down if they want to.
Yeah, I want Strange. I'm going to go Strange.
And BTJ is a good like, oops, I'm going to Strange.
So Nick Werksberg-Akine, what I hear, wait, now that I hear your take on the Falcons, Bengals D, would you do Falcons, Bengals, or Packers?
Ooh, Packers or Falcons for me for
I'd
sure.
probably go, yeah, it's between the two, and it's probably going to be Packers for me.
Packers
even
for
though
me
I do
too.
like the Falcons.
I just think New Orleans has the least talented roster.
Yeah.
The
out of
Giants
both.
still have Tyrone Tracy,
They still
a
have
player I
Neighbors, they
like,
still have everybody.
Neighbors, a
And their
guy I
line is
like.
still decent. Yeah.
Wandale, honestly, not terrible.
Wandale's
They have a
fantastic.
supporting cast. They have some things. I don't think New Orleans has a prayer. So I'm gonna
Nope.
go with
And
Packers.
MVS, I think, is very on the wrong side of questionable.
I mean, they just got nothing left. That could be hard to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely for sure. So let's get to the next one. We got Steve. What's going on, brother? He goes Pacheco or Taylor Jr.
That's Patrick Taylor Jr., I think.
That is Patrick Taylor Jr.
I'm gonna go with Pacheco. Too much talent. I like Patrick, but I think Izzy mixes in too much. And I just don't think that Patrick Taylor is enough talent-wise to elevate in that sort of underperforming offense where Pacheco, I think, can make something happen and also probably has an elevated chance of a touchdown versus Taylor.
I agree. I think they're going to do a three-headed monster out in San Francisco, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with Pacheco here as well. So did a lot of wood. I like it. Half PPR, need to pick 3. 1 running back. Okay, so 1 running back out of this group. So Shakir, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ridley, Pollard, which if he's healthy, Ramondre, Ford. Rest of my team is stacked, so looking for high floors. So 1 running back out of that group, I would probably go Ford, but I would go Pollard if he's active. But I like Ford a little bit better.
Yeah, I like Ford Shakir. Oh,
I
yeah,
like
3.
Shakir.
Ford's
Yeah,
definitely my RB.
Yeah.
Great combination, like you mentioned, great combination of health.
Yeah.
But he can catch passes. A lot of things to like there.
Shakir is definitely one of my other ones. The other one for me is Ridley.
I think it's
talked
a
about him.
Ridley Pollard for me. It's close, but
Yeah.
like, why not go with the healthy guy? I guess.
I mean, we talked about it.
I know for sure Pollard is ahead of Ridley in my rankings, but it's close.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me not to pick, in this case, Ridley, for my second guy.
Half PPR, I'm going to go Pollard over Ridley. Full PPR, I do have Ridley because he is a PPR guy. In half, I am going to lean Pollard, though.
Okay, so you would go Shakir, Pollard, and Ford?
Specifically because of half PPR.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I get that. I get that move as well. If Pollard's out, are you comfortable going? Who are you comfortable pivoting to?
If Pollard's out, we're keeping our Ford Shakir, and then am I pivoting towards Ramondre or MHJ is the question.
Or even Ridley.
Or Ridley. Actually, did I completely forget
So
about
he
Ridley
says
in that
at
matchup?
least 1 running back. Sorry, need to fill RB2 and 2 flex. That's fine. We get it.
Man, Ridley's matchup against the Colts is just so good.
It is.
Bad quarterback play though. It's you know what? I am gonna go with MHJ over Ridley because I like the quarterback play of Kyler plus the talent of MHJ over an abysmal defense.
He will be going against. Well, he's going to be going against JC Horn. So I mean, JC Horn has done a good job at shutting people down. Yeah. I think of a lot of different things, and
I guess I'll go MHJ's talent over like Ridley's talent to elevate over his quarterback play. I don't know what his quarterback play is.
Ridley has the worst quarterback compared to Kyler on different levels. Mason Rudolph is gonna pepper him. It's just how they play, and it's how he did very well a few weeks ago.
I mean, it could be big, right? Like, I don't know. You're so right. Like, is there a chance Ridley has 10 for 12 for 100? There's such a real possibility of that happening.
I think we both agree it's Shakir and Ford for that particular spot. I think if Pollard's out, you can pivot to Ridley. If Pollard's playing, you stick with Pollard.
It's not Ramondre though. It's definitely MHJ or Ridley for like upside, elite upside.
Yeah, if you're definitely looking, and if you already have high floors, I think you're okay.
Classic, talk me off the ledge. It's just Ridley, right? Because MHJ, while extremely talented, he's catching 3 for 7 many games.
We are no longer in weeks 2 and 3. And
Ridley's getting 12 targets where MHJ's getting 7. I mean, he's doubling them, right?
Well, that's my whole point. Is I don't care what MSJ's been doing the last few weeks. I have to play him in a few leagues because I have no other options.
Like, I'm looking at my metrics and I don't love him. I don't love him this week at all. I'm playing so many people over him.
Yeah, I'm playing Ridley over him, and it's not even.
I'm playing Tyrone Tracy over him.
Yeah. So, we already answered all your questions there, Tyler. Garrett, Bucky Irving or Brees Hall?
Ooh, I'm going Brees Hall. Hard to ignore that he'll have the lion's share of the snaps compared to Irving. I love Irving, but they're similarly talented. But
they're in the same situation, to be quite honest. They're both very involved in a 3-headed monster. I like Bucky just a little better because of the matchup. Dallas has been a sieve. Micah Parsons is currently not feeling great.
I forgot it's Dallas with Micah. No, Bucky.
It's Bucky. Sorry.
Brees is going against LA, which has had a much improved defense lately, particularly against pass catching running backs.
A lot better. Yeah.
And honestly, Brees, I love you, but Bucky has the stupidest good matchup. But he could go for 150 that game. He could go big.
I have Bucky at 14, and I have Brees Hall at 19. So they're the same tier, but I'm going to go Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I got Bucky 15, Brees 18. But
we're
like right there.
Graze My Biscuit says, did you peep that crazy play by Shane Palmer? I wasn't watching, but if anything, I don't think Kendall was either. He's been pretty engaged in this conversation. So it's fair to say that we haven't.
I do have the game up, but I've been mostly paying attention to the box scores.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty comfy lately. So I'm looking forward to watching the highlights, but
there you go.
Look, honestly, I'm looking forward to cashing out a pretty big paycheck on me smashing the not just under, but I took the adjusted under. I went all in on under 41.5. The game line was under 50.5, and I took under 41.5, and it's 20-3 in the fourth with 6 left. So I'm planning on going a nice 3-1.
So I think we answered this, T. Higgins or Terry. I think we went with both Higgins. Yep. All right, so we did T. Higgins. Ravens show, what's going on, Ravens? He goes, what's the deal, Coach Kendall and Coach Mike? What's going on?
Want to do some Pee Wee football coaching? Dude, I'm so in.
So he goes, one question, full PPR, flex 1, Thielen versus Arizona, or Tajay Spears versus Indy, or Debo versus Miami. And he goes, yuck.
Thielen by 20 miles.
Yeah, for me, it's Thielen.
Thielen's going to have like a 30-point game. He's going to have a massive
I hope so.
game.
I can only root for that. But for me, it's Thielen. Coker is questionable, but doesn't mean he's not playing. I do think that it's going to be Thielen here.
I think Thielen has a vintage Thielen game here.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one for me. Franco, what's going on, man? He goes Pitts or Hunter Henry.
I only saw one name there. I don't believe the first player is an NFL player.
Hunter Henry it is. I agree.
I like Hunter Henry too.
I do too. Dr. Clutch, Garrett Wilson or Brian Thomas Jr., full PPR.
BTJ.
I think it has to be BTJ. It's hard for me not to do BTJ. So I'm going to go BTJ. I do like Garrett Wilson, but to a different extent. So this is a great question. So Mr. Out of the Box goes, happy holiday, fellas. Happy holidays to you and everybody watching. Thank you. We really do appreciate it. Out of the Box goes Penix or your boy AR5.
Yeah, it's A Rich here for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely
interesting.
A Rich here.
I might take the risk here. If you're this low, like if you're at this point in the season, this is definitely this can't be a QB1 scenario. This has to be
but I have one argument for this. I have one main argument. Let's see if I can convince you off the other way.
Well, it's a good matchup. I
Bijan Robinson. That's my argument.
Yeah, fair enough. Hand off.
Penix will be a worse version of CJ Stroud with Mixon. He will have 18 completions for 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and it will look great on his resume, but it will not look good in your stat sheet. Where AR's 3 interceptions are going to look awful, but its rushing touchdown and 60 rushing yards are going to more than make up for it. That's the way I look at it. I just think there's just a low ceiling for Penix in terms of attempts, completions, and the touchdown upside is mostly Bijan, not the other guys when it's a rookie.
I have Penix at 15. I have Anthony Richardson at 17. I love the matchup. I love the situation. I think they're going to want to use him and show what he can do. He has good weapons around him. He can definitely get Bijan involved. I understand that they might lean on Bijan just a smidge. I still think I'm going to go Penix. I'm going to trust the new.
Ooh,
and
spicy.
Yeah, I think I like it. I think it's just more against the Giants stake than it is.
I also trust the Falcons to be the damn Falcons.
Yeah.
And they like screwing over themselves a little bit.
Sometimes. So Bunsen burner goes McMillan or Reed. I think we both agreed McMillan.
Yeah.
We're going to go McMillan here. Njoku or Frymuth. I think we both agree.
Does
Frymuth.
Njoku play?
I don't know if he does, and he's very questionable to me.
Fryermuth, because Njoku could be out in the first.
Fryermuth to me, he's healthy, and he's going against a defense that has been giving up points to tight ends and wide receivers, even though it's Kyle Hamilton. But Kyle Hamilton is very good in coverage, more in the box than he is anywhere else, and he tends to be a little bit more of a run stopper, is what they need.
Russell Wilson versus Dorian Thompson-Robertson. DTR has a history of completing like 5 passes a game and attempting 6. I can't see a world in which Njoku has a big game.
No, I can't either. So let's go to C-Dog. What's going on, C-Dog? He goes, pick 2. Terry, DK, Jennings, Patrick Taylor, full PPR.
What's DK's health?
DK is active.
You full go?
As far as I'm aware. He wasn't on the injury report, and most of the reports said Kenneth Walker and Geno Smith, but he's off the report.
Are you like definitely DK over Jennings?
I mean,
how close is that for you?
I'm looking at my rankings now. I have Terry at 15. I have DK at where is it?
I got Jennings higher than DK. Straight up.
Jennings higher than DK too.
I got Jennings at 22. I got DK at 31.
Well, JSN has just been taking over that fucking team. So I mean,
he's looking to set a record for the slot catches, man.
Yeah. So if I'm picking 2 here, Jennings probably will be a little bit more involved going against Miami. And that game right now is, 44.5? Yeah, 44.5. Miami favored, which means that they're going to have to throw to keep up. They're also trying to win. I do like Jennings here. So Jennings and Terry. I'm
going Jennings and Terry.
Right? That seems so weird, though.
Patrick's not talented enough to put up a massive game. I mean,
volume alone will help him, but
Izzy's a better running back than him.
Honestly,
I think Izzy actually outscores Patrick Taylor.
I was just gonna say, do you think that Kyle Juszczyk will get more touches than Patrick?
He's gonna have more catches and receiving yards for sure.
Yeah, I was just
gonna what I mean.
That. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Terry
I can't consider Patrick Taylor he's the starter.
He's
not. He's a guy that will get more snaps.
I'm taking him off of other people's rosters and playing defense and keeping him on my bench.
Right. It's like, okay, you lost Kamara. I'm taking him away from you as an option, but that's it.
That's what I'm doing. Top 5, Low Darks. What's going on, man? He goes Patrick Taylor or Rachaad White. It's Rachaad White, and we're not gonna go too much deeper. Should I drop Charbonnet for Hollywood or McMillan? My answer is no.
Kenneth Walker could walk down his street and tear his oblique. You heard me right. I said it because he's weird like that.
No, it's just how it goes. Yeah, he says I have Gibbs, Chase Brown, White, Najee, and Tracy, and I don't have much depth at wide receiver. I don't care if you don't have depth. It's one of those things where would you rather have Charbonnet as an RB1 over the rest of those guys? I'd rather have Charbonnet.
Oh, because he's saying Gibbs and Chase are easy 1-2. I don't know your format, but the idea is, are you saying that like you could? I'm never really playing McMillan that often over Rachaad White. They're really close.
No.
Right? Because McMillan or Hollywood would have to be your wide receiver too, though, right? If you're telling me this is a flex consideration,
no. This No, it's not for a flex. It's to have on the bench. So he's looking to have his bench for the rest of the season.
Are you worried about
Would you-
injuries at wide receiver?
Well, no, he might be, but he's weak at wide receiver from what he's telling us. So would you rather have Hollywood or McMillan over Charbonnet
Hollywood
if
doesn't
you're
have
weak at
upside.
wide receiver when you have White, Najee, and Tracy on your bench already?
Do you see it the way I do, which is like
No, I do.
McMillan's
I'm,
nice
I'm
to
the
have,
one that
but, like,
has I'd rather have
Charbonnet can score
Charbonnet.
39 points. off the
Charbonnet
bench.
in his own right is an RB1, and you should never get rid of him.
McMillan's at best an upside wide receiver 3, low end
Three.
wide receiver 2 if he really is doing his thing.
100%. If you're that weak at wide receiver, you need to think about doing something a little bit different or looking for somebody a little bit more. I wouldn't do it, honestly.
Yeah, you can't. Honestly, if you drop, think about this, okay?
I
Think
wouldn't
about
do it.
Low Darks. Think about this. You drop Charbonnet, somebody else picks him up, your opponent. Walker tears another random muscle. You can't go out that way. It's not just about you. It's about playing defense against who you'd have to drop.
And
you
even
cannot drop Charbonnet at the risk of giving that to somebody else. That is
100%.
giving him too much lethality.
And even with Charbonnet with an oblique injury, it's 1 week. He's fine. He also was given a ton of carries in 2 weeks, which he's not used to carrying. Give him a minute. He's going to get
Patrick Taylor as bait. Make your opponent play Patrick Taylor.
A lot of people,
somebody they shouldn't have done. I picked up Patrick Taylor to drop him so that.
That's another good point. Oh, that's another great point. Drop Patrick Taylor and pick up McMillan.
Yeah. They'll pick up Taylor, play him, and it's going to be a mistake over a lot.
Those
of
are what we called landmines.
There you go.
You have a good landmine.
Let's play 4D chess, baby.
I'm doing it in one league. We'll see how it goes. I have to pick up Taylor so that the other 3 guys in my league can't use him.
I'll screenshot it. I literally picked up Taylor and then dropped him for McMillan. I did that exact same thing.
I didn't do it for McMillan. I did it for Kendrick Miller.
Well, the opponent had Kamara, so I picked up Kendra already, and then I had to pick up the only other viable option, and then I dropped him to give him the only viable option. I'm basically setting his lineup for him, and it's going to be some fun shit.
I do that too when I can. It's hard too when you have a team that's like really good. So
every now and again, you're in that perfect matchup where you're like, dude, I'm going to full Rick and Morty this, man. Like, this is my domain.
So, Cody, what's going on, Cody? Great to have you here. For those that don't know Cody is part of our Sweet Life Football podcast. Make sure you guys check him out tomorrow. He is on every Saturday, so make sure you guys check him out. He goes, hey, fellas, pick 2 for the flex. Swift, Dobbs, or McMillan? I like this question.
I do too.
I don't mind Swift. I think
like
I think he's serviceable even against the Lions, who are now currently a little bit beat up. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm sorry, Cody. I apologize. So Roger Ribbit.
Cody, though, help us out. Cody, I want your answer in chat with us, okay?
Yeah, he's still listening, I bet. So Roger Ribbit, what's going on? He goes, hey, guys, first-time listener here. I love the content, and I'm in a 14-team full PPR league. Start 14 or sit.
Let's get
I love this. Yeah. So Kenneth Walker or Rico Dowdle. So right off the bat, who do you like a little bit more here? We already kind of talked about how we feel about Kenneth Walker and how he can walk down the street.
Absolute tear. Tough. Tampa Bay, what the old moniker is, you don't run against Tampa Bay.
But
Rico, by the way, I lied. I told you he'd have 150 rushing yards. He had 149. That's my bad.
So Tampa Bay the last few weeks. So he goes, I'm also a Sharb owner and Ramondre owner. Okay.
That's good to know.
So in this particular case, Tampa Bay is currently ranked best against the running back right now. As of today, for the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks since week 10, they are currently the best against the running back. This is a tough matchup for Rico, but it's a ton of volume. Charbonnet is still involved, regardless if he's hurt or not. Oh, you have Chase Brown. Good for you, brother.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you're fine. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that run just Rico Dowdle and Chase Brown in that 0 RB type format.
Yep.
Kenneth Walker is not a horrible sit for me in this particular case. He has a decent matchup against the Vikings, but you're picking between the number 1 defense against the run and the number 2 against the run. It's really, who do you like better talent wise? So
Dowdle's got 100%. Dowdle has one of the most elite snap. What's his snap share? I want to pull this up. His snap share
has been incredible because
70,
of the
77, and 74. That has got to be top 5 in the league, next to like James
At
Conner.
least.
That is unreal snap share. Kenneth Walker, healthy with a healthy Sharps, is not getting over 60%.
No, he gets
snaps.
8. No, he gets like 80 when he's in without Sharp. Like even when Sharps is there. So hold on, I'll bring it up right now. So with Charbonnet, even with Charbonnet, it's been 66. Okay, so it's been 60s.
I'm saying it started off way different to start the season.
Yeah, but then Charbonnet got 80.
Yeah,
and then Kenneth got as high as 73 and 76.
I mean, Walker was trending down, right? When you look at those last 3 games he played, right? 54, 41,
no, he's definitely been trending down.
Yards,
you
3,
can
2.5, 2.0, 3. His efficiency was god awful.
Oh yeah,
the production was bad. I think, just my personal opinion, I think they would love to just run Walker, but clearly they've run into what happens when they just run Walker.
Well, they saw what happened when they put in Rico Dowdle, or not Rico Dowdle,
Charbonnet. They're like, hey, shoot, man, he's kind of good. He was on the team the whole time. That guy.
I mean, I agree with you. I do think that Rico Dowdle will be a lot more involved. So I do think this is more of a Rico Dowdle situation comparatively to Kenneth Walker. I have Rico Dowdle ranked higher.
Plus, are you fine run funneling Dallas, because it's just, if CD doesn't score, like Dowdle can run for 200 yards, they're not going to win a game, right? Where Kenneth Walker is kind of a like, all right, no, their running game's not going to happen. Gino can make some mistakes. He's not having the biggest game of his year. He's a little banged up. I'm taking Walker over Kenneth Walker. I'm taking Rico Dowdle over Kenneth Walker. Dowdle has 3 back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. It's the NFL.
No,
you know how hard it is to have 100 rushing yards in an NFL game as anybody?
I like Dowdle just because of the concept that the 48 and a half point over under for the Dallas Cowboys Buccaneer game.
Under.
I'm taking that.
Who do you like?
Oh no, I'll take the under, but I still think that if Vegas thinks it can maybe get to that point, I'm okay with going with that. I'd rather have more points in that game than the other one.
That makes sense.
The next is Arizona's D or Indy's D or Chicago is on waivers. So
no, Chicago.
I'm not down. I'm not doing Chicago. To me, this is easier. It's Arizona.
Yeah, I like Arizona. Arizona's pass rush has looked really nice, actually. Like Arizona has one of those legitimate shots to score 20 points that like only a few defenses really have. They've done it quite a few times.
Bryce Young likes getting sacked.
He really does. And this is Bryce Young with 2 injuries at wide receiver. He's missing Leggett. He's missing Coker. That's a problem for him. That's a big problem.
Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. I hope we really helped you out here. So yeah, we're going to go with Dowdle and Arizona's D for the Roger Ribbit. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate your super chat. So thank you. Let's move to, sorry, I got to scroll back.
Did we finish Cody's question?
No, I was trying to get back up there. He had this question, which was Swift, Dobbs, and McMillan.
Swift and McMillan for me. Dobbs just coming in. I'm already not starting. Dobbs is not their wide receiver 1. I'm not starting Watson, and Dobbs is their second.
Just to give you perspective, Cody is a Green Bay Packers fan, so you guys might not get along, but
no, what are you talking about? We give them 2 wins every
kidding.
single year. We're the most charitable organization to their team that has ever existed. We're nicer to you than the city municipality.
Right.
Okay. We are walking self-esteem for Green Bay. Okay.
I like Swift and Dobbs here. I just like what Dobbs
Talk
is
to me about
doing.
Dobbs. Why do you like Dobbs? Because I feel like I'm missing something.
It's honestly, he's their possession guy. And if this is full PPR, I feel a lot better about it. They're going to be involved. It's New Orleans. They're going to have to throw it. I mean, the over-under for this game, I mean, Packers are favored. So I understand the reason why you might want to go with McMillan, just because the game is going to be a little bit tighter for the other game. But the last few weeks, I mean, he only had the first game back. He had the 2 touchdowns. It was 3 for 5 and 40. and 3 for 6 and 46 or
We got
54.
Can I try to convince you? Can
You can
I
try.
Can I walk you down an argument?
Well, McMillan's the number 2 for them too. So I get it. And Baker's a better quarterback. He'll throw more. It's against Dallas. Like, I feel a little bit better about it. So I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like, I have him and McMillan pretty close.
So I'm going to go Baker is starting to look a little like 40 pass attempts every game all day. Love is unstartable right now because he is doing like 20 pass attempts. Dobbs, in a run-heavy, game-favored script, in a game they might pass 20 times, if he's going to have 5 targets, would be a 20% target share. I don't think he's a 20% target share guy because Jacobs has been the leading wide receiver sometimes, occasionally anyways. I don't see enough targets to make a meaningful target share, like a winnable matchup without a touchdown. And I don't think the touchdowns are there for the Packers because they're all going to the running back. Where I think Jalen McMillan has scored touchdowns in the back-to-back games, right? In the last 3 games, he's averaging about a 70% snap share. Last 2 games, 7 targets, 6 targets, 59 yards, 75 yards. Those would be above Dobbs' average the entire season. We've got an 8 and a 12 ADOT in a higher over-under.
I don't need anything else. You convinced me. I'm getting too tired to argue.
You got me on the last 2 where you convinced me, so I had to get you back. And
no, you got me back.
You were damn right the last couple of times, too.
Yeah, I'm going to go McMillan. So McMillan and Swift for me. So Patrick goes drop Ray Davis for Seahawks, Raiders, or Rams, stashing for next week. So I don't hate any of those options. Let me double check my math here. If you're more asking the question, should you drop Ray Davis? It's hard for me to tell you yes. I really don't want to drop Ray Davis unless I absolutely have to. If you're going with defenses here, Seattle will be facing.
I like Rams D against the Jets a lot.
You do.
It's the Jets,
no, Rams.
man.
No. Wait, no, it's Cardinals. They have Cardinals.
Oh,
week 17. So Bears. So Seahawks versus Bears. I don't hate.
Oh, Seahawks way better.
Rams versus that. So yeah, I like the Seahawks there. Raiders I don't like because once they lost Max Crosby, that they're not the same team. So would you do that in this case Ray Davis for the Seahawks?
So this is a backup. Who's your primary?
Well, who are your other bench options at this point? Because honestly, in this case, I wouldn't be doing it. I would probably keep Ray Davis and move forward and then see what I have next week and stream it because you're still picking from 3 options. So you have.
I would agree with you unless the option this week was like a this week only option where next week is like a nightmare option. I know there's a couple of those where it's a week 16 only where next week is suicide. If you're worried you're in a league with a deep enough bench, if you're considering this swap, it tells me you're probably in a somewhat deep enough bench, at least somewhat, right? You're opening your opponent up to pick up the Seahawks potentially if you don't. If that's a major improvement for your opponent over you, then I would pick up the Seahawks because it's not about your team. It's about also removing a good option from your opponent, in which case there's clear plus EV. Then I would. If it's just, hey, I would consider Seahawks, but I already have like a Houston or something, which is already a pretty legit D, then Ray Davis's upside is actual league winning. So I wouldn't. I would only do it if you can play defense against your opponent. So check your opponent's defense and their snatch.
Yeah, and then wait till next week and make your decision. I wouldn't do it now.
Or know your fab situation, right? Like this is also if you have no fab and you can only pick up somebody for 0 this week.
Then you pick up. Then you look up for two defenses. I do it every week. It's fine. So Travis Scott goes. Looks like Bateman was a play last week. Yeah, I mean Bateman was a lot of people's play last week, and unfortunately, he probably wasn't played in a lot. So Rome the host, what's going on?
He had 3 catches
for 2 touchdowns. Anyway,
but he had 3 catches.
Yeah, I know.
Like I know they were for touchdowns, but like I think there's still something worth considering that for how many deep shots get completed plus or minus 50%. Clearly less than 50%. So if he catches less than 50% of his deep balls, he has less than 3 catches.
Fair enough.
Like
I
I think
just
that
a
needs to be
Bateman
put in like, don't box score chase 2 deep balls, because also you should also start MBS, right?
Fair enough.
I'm just saying, be
So
careful. And plus Bateman is in a walking boot this week, so come on.
oh no, he's not playing. I already called it. So pick one running back, one wide receiver, and one flex, half PPR. So I think the running back we have both agreed is Ford out of this group. The wide receiver for this group is Thielen. I also think, or no, it's Jennings, but then it's
Oh,
Thielen.
I didn't see Jennings there. Yeah.
I think it's Jennings and then
Is
Thielen.
that close for you at all?
Yeah, Jennings and Thielen are right next to each other.
Wow, how close is that?
I have 30. I have Thielen at 36, but I have McMillan in like the 50, like 46. So, I mean, that's rankings wise, but just my gut after like looking at this, Jennings at 18 feels a lot better to me than McMillan does, and Thielen
Quarterback
feels a lot
play
better.
is always my tiebreaker in terms of like,
well, that's kind of my point.
10 games here, 10 games here. The quarterback is obviously going to.
Brees Young and Baker are two different, types of quarterbacks that right now volume to me, and Thielen is, and his consistency. I like Thielen. So
Thielen's got a chance. I think Thielen's got a chance for like a big game.
Yeah, he has an opportunity.
Just enough chance for like a Bryce negative 2-point fantasy game where like it tanks everybody. I don't think Jennings has that low of a ceiling, even on his worst day with Purdy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Jennings as the wide receiver one, like the one wide receiver you need. So it's for Jennings, and then it's between everybody else. And I think to me, it's Thielen.
I'd take Thielen over McMillan. I think clear wide receiver 1, and also in probably a negative game script where they have to throw the ball, where McMillan might be in a plus game script where he doesn't need to get used.
Yeah.
Downs quarterback way too inconsistent. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Adam K, he goes Higgins or Neighbors? Bench.
Full PPR?
I'm assuming so. I'm always going to assume it's full PPR unless you guys tell me.
Definitely bench Ridley, though, for sure here.
I'm benching Ridley out of these two.
Yeah, I think so. Quarterback play alone. And Neighbors is QB proof compared to Ridley.
Yeah, I think you're pretty
Higgins good. With all the positive news of like the change in the
Fine.
agent, it does feel like he's going to get targets forced his way no matter what Joe Burrow is going to want to.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Scott White goes McLaurin or ETN in my flex standard. I think standard you're going to lean the running back, or I mean standard I go to the guy that has the biggest upside, which in this case would be, well, it's McLaurin. But he could get shut out. So
I just think normally I'd agree with you. You're totally right, which is just blindly pick the running back, except ETN's possibly not the RB1. We don't know.
But he's going against the Raiders.
Denver's backfield is like, who's the RB1? I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's who I'm facing at this point, and it's the Raiders. I'm going with ETN.
Am I crazy on this one? You're so confident. You're making me think I might.
I just feel better about a running back in a standard league than I do a wide receiver. And
I mean,
if you're going to go with touchdown, if it's touchdown, I'm going with the worst defense, and the worst defense is the Raiders.
I'd have to look at actual projections. I feel like with standard, I have to my rankings I don't do standard. I have to look at
I
project box score ranges.
I mean, I have ETN at 30, and I do have McLaurin at 15. But the thing is that I think the matchup brings them closer together. So I'm going ETN. It's more of a gut call.
For the sake of my teams, I hope you're right.
Yeah. But I mean, McLaurin in any other situation.
If ETN falls in the end zone and McLaurin doesn't, he does win. That matchup is interesting. You're not worried about Tank, right?
I mean, of course I am, but there's really nothing I can do about it.
I like the confidence so much, man. I wish I was.
Well, even if then it's really a question of, do you think the Jags are better than the Raiders? And then it's yes. And if they are, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run both of them, and they're going to both have one of those top games where they're just going to run all over these guys. But they do have the Raiders favored. So
no, you make a point. ETN also was pretty heavily involved in the passing game the other week.
He can be.
That was
well, and this is standard, so it doesn't really matter. It's really more: are they going to score a touchdown? Who will
Even
score
from
a
the
touchdown?
yardage standpoint, like the combined yardage in standard kind of matters.
I mean, the higher point total for this game or for these games is the Eagles Commanders game, but I don't know how much that goes McLaurin's way.
ETN the 73% snap share last week. That is big.
Yeah, he
targets.
He took over the spot.
Kind of took it back. I might be stupid not to start ETN. ETN might have a ridiculous, like, could ETN do 25 carries and blow that? Like, that sounds crazy with Bigsby there. Could he do 18 carries at 5 yards a carry and a touchdown and just really make it rain? Did you do it again? You convinced me again.
I tried.
Dude, you might be right. Vegas' defense is absolutely shredded without Max Crosby. All right, you convinced me. This is the first time I think today I'm actually changing my rankings. And ETN's going up about 10 spots.
So we got Ford and Barkley, and then Miller on the bench. Yep, you're not switching that. Keep it the way it is. He says, I have Ford, Barkley, Dottle, and Miller. Who's the odd man out? It's Miller.
Yep.
Miller's the odd man out in that group. The roll, what's going on, man? Great to have you here. He goes, traded Njoku and ETN for Sam Laporta in Dynasty League, 2 tight end league. Nice. Good for you. That's
Very good trade.
Good trade. Scott White goes, is Jamal Williams going to – oh, there it is. So is Jamal Williams going to get some work this week? I think he will, but I don't think it's enough that it's going to matter.
Their offense might have 300 total yards tops.
Cody goes, Burrow or Daniels? This is a tougher one for me. Most weeks I would tell you Burrow, and I think it's still going to be that. I think
Daniels might not need to do enough. That game could be over too soon, and it could be B-Rob, 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 B-Rob.
Yeah, and I like what
it will never be Chase Brown ever.
Yeah, I think the floor for Burrow is better, even though Cleveland's defense is better than their all. Like the Cleveland defensive line is better than the Cincinnati offensive line.
That's fair.
And I think that I think the amount that Burrow and the Bengals throw is a higher floor than what Jaden Daniels might have to do against the Eagles, if that makes any sense. And if I just think he'll be fine. So I'm going to go Burrow here, and it's very close though.
Cincy's defense is also
4-5,
atrocious.
They're going to have to
somehow Burrow actually ends up having to play football when he shouldn't have to.
Yeah, I mean, Cincy's favored by 8.5, but that's just because of DTR. It's not because of their defense. And if their defense is out on the field the whole time, yeah, it might be a little bit rough. But I do think that they can beat them down a little bit. I think it's going to be a Burrow game over Daniels. I think he's trying to prove something at this point. So yeah, we already answered your question. So let's go to Nick. What's going on, Nick? Great to have you here. He goes, do I start Debo, Hollywood Brown, or Jalen Coker if he plays?
Debo.
I think you got to roll with Debo.
You have to.
Yeah, Jalen Coker's too volatile, and Hollywood Brown coming off the injury, I don't trust.
Hollywood Brown could have a 20% snap share.
And even if he had, I mean, his 20% snap share is probably going to be like three for 80 and a touchdown, but I don't know how true that might be, and we can't predict touchdowns. So Debo has a little bit more guarantee of a outcome here.
Big running back injuries. Debo's going to get all the red zone carries too. Don't forget that.
Debo will be very involved. All in one show. He goes, should I be worried about Kelsey? Yes.
I kind of am.
Everybody should be.
I brought this up in our pre-show thing where I'm actually actively looking for like who would I start over Kelsey, and there's not a ton of options, but like when I have a great 2 tight ends, I'm benching Kelsey as like my flex where I'm putting other people over him. Yeah. I still have Kelsey as like my tight end like 3 or 4, but
yeah. I mean, this could be a big game for him just because of the concept of how popular this game will be. Just because it's a prime time type game, because it's a rare Saturday game. He might be a little bit more involved. We'll see. But I'd
start Jonnu Smith over him.
Well, if I remember correctly, they have 3 games in like 10 days or something like that. Like they have a really crazy schedule where they have them on a Saturday, a Wednesday, and a Saturday, Wednesday, and then a Sunday. So it's like 14. I forgot what the numbers are. I think it's like 11 or 12 days, and they have 3 games or something like that. So the next few weeks are going to be a trial for him. but they're all primetime games, which makes them a little bit more appealing. Just because he tends to do better in primetime, because we all know why. But yeah.
Would you do Laporta or Kelsey?
Laporta. Just been more active
Houston's
lately.
defense is kind of nice.
But they lost Petrie, who usually used to cover the tight end, and they don't have that anymore. Tight end's been doing a little bit better against Houston as of late. So pick 2, London, Neighbors, or Jennings. So who you're sitting out of this?
Neighbors.
Same. I'm going to sit Neighbors. J-Rad, what's going on, man? He goes, Adam Thielen, Jacoby Myers, Dottle, Derrick Henry, start 2 at flex, full PPR. All right, well, Derrick Henry is starting. And then it's Rico Dottle. There's no question. I don't think we're going to fight too much about that. That's
tough. That's tough not to. I'm going to go with the running backs. I like Thielen and Jacoby, but they have awful quarterback play, and they could go to – I'm not saying I'm not doing a stock play. They could go to 0. There's just so much consistency between Derrick Henry and Dowdle plus good form. There's no reason even if full PPR to go away from pretty elite RB1s with elite snap shares, in my opinion. I'm with you on this one, Mike. I think it's a good question because I do think when you look at Jacoby and Thielen, you do see 10 target guys in PPR when you're like, yeah, but 10 targets in PPR is a 10-point floor plus yardage. Derrick Henry has 2 touchdown upside. Rico Dowdle has 100-yard plus 5 catches. All the upside.
The fact that you're flexing Henry is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, your team looks pretty elite here. Well, it's one of those Thielen was on IR, so he could stash him, right? And he could pick up Jacoby in the midseason on waivers. I think it's one of those you got a lot of choices, but I'm going to stick with the running backs. Their variants, I think they're if you look at their PPG, it's going to be higher on average.
Okay, so Adam's confirming. So he goes last Sunday, tomorrow, and next Wednesday for the Chiefs. That's what it was. I was going to say it had to be it was a very close window of games, and it is. That's 3 games in 11 days. Wow. Thank you for that. And but they have 11 days off. All right, well, whatever. But it's the end of for me, I only care about this game and next week. I don't give a shit about 18.
Right, that's fair.
So, I mean, I get that. And those that play in 18, I'm sorry. So Benjamin Archiga, he goes Strange over Muth or Muth and Kraft full PPR. I don't think I'm playing him over Kraft though.
Kraft, Green Bay matchup, run heavy. No, even in PP, I'm going to go Strange over Kraft here. Kraft just does not have enough targets, and the offense doesn't have enough targets for him to garner enough target share. Okay. Dobbs is healthy again, which I think Kraft is a guy I actively want to fade in these matchups that don't mean much, where I want him a lot more in these bigger matchups. I just think the team, when they know they're going to win, becomes a game where I think Love passes for 150 yards, 18 attempts, just real thin numbers, where Kraft, there's just no way outside of a big play he gets there. Strange, I feel like no matter what happens, that team needs someone to throw a bunch of balls to. And outside of BTJ, I think Strange is one of the only other viable options. Other wide receivers are actual just toast. It might be a spicy take, but I'm going Strange over Kraft. Kraft is the better wide receiver. Make no means about it. I'm saying the team situation says Green Bay doesn't need to pass the ball 10 times that game. Jacobs is going to have 30 carries.
I have Farmuth ranked higher than both of them. So,
really?
Yeah. And it's Muth at, what is it? Muth at 12, Strange at 13. So, I mean, you could play, I'm good with Muth, but I don't mind Kraft either. I don't mind any of these guys, to be fair, and it's full PPR. Muth probably a little bit more just because of no George Pickens. So
that's a good point.
I might go with Muth here in this scenario.
I go Muth over Kraft, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely do Muth.
In terms of upside.
You gotta play Muth on Saturday, so you either have to play, you either have to get it done now or wait for Strange. But you have a good scenario where if you don't go with Muth and you go with Strange, if he's out, because if he's game time and he's out, then you can pivot to Kraft. So at least you have something in that realm where the time frames kind of work for you. But I like Muth a little bit.
Let's go Irish, baby.
And
Got it
Oh,
done.
they won. They got it done. Nice. Tyrone Tracy or Emil Abdullah, full PPR. I'm going Tracy, and I think
Tracy,
you're going
not
to go
close.
Tracy as
You
well.
should drop Abdullah so your opponent picks him up.
Yeah, I would go that way too. Way, right? Did I say that right? Rayway
Free
Freezio?
breezy, yo.
What's going on, man? He goes full PPR. Tyreek with no Waddle, JSN in bad weather, or Bucky.
You have to pick.
If you're picking one of those,
Holy.
it has to be JSN. I
Your
don't care
opponent
about
has
the
already
weather.
conceded, right?
Yeah, like I'm going either way.
Jeez.
I think JSN has to be your pick.
Yeah, JSN over Bucky. JSN is
JSN is over Bucky.
Bucky's been on a good run. JSN's been on a holy shit run.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I did the numbers from week 10 to 15 for wide receivers in full PPR. He is currently wide receiver 16 in the last those 4 weeks. If you go to 11, he is currently wide receiver 7. So honestly, I'm going with that. I'm sticking with
JSN's almost over Tyreek. I'm not kidding. It's
he
close.
is over Tyreek at this point.
Like, no
Yeah.
Waddle says like, okay, Tyreek. Fine,
Yeah, but
I saw you. But
I had the question of Tyreek or
time for me to go, coach. You know,
Oh, I hated that thing. For me, it was either Tyreek or Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And I know I just said Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Jonathan Taylor. So for me, you know, I have to make the move of which one I want to do because Tyreek's technically questionable and I don't have anybody else at 4:00. So if he's out for whatever reason, I'm fucked. So it's, do I stick with JT or go with Tyreek here? And I might have to risk it.
honestly, I'm going JT over Tyreek in that standpoint because I think they're close enough where Tyreek actually worried me a little bit.
They both do. It's just it's really trying.
Plus, Tyreek with no one else to check him, that could become a weird game where it's just like we know that offense can operate with these 2-yard like dumps, like where all of a sudden it's 100% completion. Where Devin Achane could have like 17 catches.
He hasn't caught a ball over 20 yards, I think, in like a few since week 2 or something like that. I might just go JT. Or I don't know. I got to think about it. I don't want to pivot again because I pivoted last week and I hated myself. But this question, it's JSN, and we're not even thinking twice.
Yeah.
Carlos goes Achane or Irving.
Achane. Achane's like a top 5 RB at this point with his pass catching. He is. They run through the air. I've never seen an RB outside of like McCaffrey just be like the most chalk for like 7 catches, which is a ridiculous number.
Yeah, I'm going Achane too for this particular matchup. We got Freeze Bro again. He goes Carlos. He's just answering his question. So Carlos goes, what about Garrett Wilson, Juwan Jennings, or Tyreek to start?
I got to consult this one. You got an obvious answer?
I mean, I have Tyreek ranked at 7, or not 7, 11. My bad. I'm getting very tired, boys and girls. So we are going to I know we have like 24 questions. I'm going to try to be running through. Actually,
we go lightning round. We're just going to go first.
Shit, we might have to do that because we have a ton of questions below
5
that.
seconds. Let's get it. We're going pure rankings. Honestly, I'm going pure feel off of this one. Upside, I like Garrett Wilson over Jennings, even though I have Jennings higher in the rankings right now. I can't possibly. The talent of Garrett Wilson is just too damn good. It's Garrett or Tyreek, and honestly, I'm going Garrett Wilson. Lock it in.
Okay. I'm going to go with Tyreek. We're going to split here. It's unfortunate, but I think we're going to split. If Tyreek plays, he's in a good scenario. So Jelly of the month, he goes, evening fellas. What's going on, man? He goes, Daniels, dud versus Philly last time, but hurt. Or Kyler in a good matchup, but so inconsistent. 6-point passing touchdown and need most upside. I think we're going to go with Daniels. I think we both agree Daniels is the play.
Biggest upside.
Yeah, biggest upside, best play.
Kyler has such a lack of upside. It's kind of not funny at this point.
Kraft or Chig Okonkwo? Kraft as well. Let's keep going. JJ, what's going on, JJ? He goes, hey guys, Kyron or Tajay Spears if Pollard is out. It's
Kyren.
Kyren without thinking twice. He says, I don't trust Kyren anymore, and I'm in 8 nano. I don't know what that is. Can someone explain that to me?
I feel like we would probably understood if we were less tired than we are. I still have faith in Kyren, but it's Notre Dame day, baby. So I'm all about Notre Dame. Feeling good. I'm going with Kyren.
Yeah, I like Kyren as well. I'm not gonna play.
Tajay Spears has been too injured. Tajay has been hyper fragile.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Pollard's out does not mean Tajay is 100% healthy. That's something to look at. And I'm a Tajay fan outside of the arthritic knee. That dynasty Tajay worries me, but
he's saying I'm assuming full PPR, so need most possible points. In this case, it's still Kyren. Kyren is a workhorse. He'll be fine. Cody goes, I'll throw another question out there. He goes, Tucker Kraft for Brenton Strange. We already talked about that. That's Brenton Strange for both of us. I think we both agreed to that. Let's go with – hold on. Sorry, guys. So Sir Fozzie, he goes, Andrews or Hawk reigning in Seattle?
Andrews.
Going to go Andrews as well. Michael Regine, he goes, decided to keep 2 defenses, Chargers and Colts, instead of dropping one for Taylor to block my opponent who had Guerrero. Did I mess up? I am projected to win 65-35.
We were just talking about it, Michael. We think that Patrick Taylor is a little bit of fool's gold. He's just not quite talented enough to pull off a really big game. And I do think that Izzy is a pretty good sign. They're going to split the carries. I think Taylor is one to drop to let your opponent think you made a mistake when you didn't really. Oh, classic. I think your mic went out.
My bad. No, I had it on mute. Yeah, no, you're still gonna it's a landmine. Just you're fine. Drunk Squidward, welcome back, my friend. It's been a minute. So he goes, so of course Alvin Kamara gets hurt and now I need a flex play. So should I start Hollywood Brown, Jalen Coker, or MVS if he plays full PPR? I would say Jalen Coker out of all the 3 of them.
If he plays, I really don't think he does.
If he
plays, though. If he plays, it's definitely Jalen Coker.
I think it's Jalen Coker without question. I'm going to just do a quick, I did check these injury reports prior to the show, and I remember seeing that he was limited. He didn't practice he didn't have an injury on Wednesday. He had limited practice all week, so he's consistent. I think he's going to play. So he's definitely going to play over a guy like Hollywood. Would you play Hollywood in that scenario? I wouldn't, just because coming back, he's going to probably get 20% snapshot. I just like Coker.
I wouldn't play Hollywood over anybody in the waiver wire. I mean, he's off my board entirely. There's
he's on my bench, but he's not. He's
right. Bench, yeah, but starting this week, out of the question entirely, including MBS. Jalen Coker, I completely agree. Actually has some actual decent upside.
Yeah, compared to these guys. So
yeah, MBS with no quarterback. I don't love it.
So yeah, Cody answering you before. Yeah, I love the Bears, but like the free space in a bingo card playing them every year.
Well, if you like it so much, let me claim it on my taxes. It's just charitable contribution to society.
That'd be fantastic.
Damn.
So Costo Hockey, he goes full PPR. I can't trust Stroud tomorrow, right? Am I going with Russ instead? Or Rush? No,
Cooper.
I am not playing Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I'd go Stroud over Cooper Rush. Stroud actually has a little bit of legs to him, and that matchup could be slightly higher scoring than we think.
Believe me,
his PPR is gonna raise with Nico back in the lineup a little bit, and with Mixon a little bit banged up, they may have to go to the air a little bit more. I don't think either has a great game. Let me be clear about that. Yeah. I don't think he has a big game, but if I had to pick one. Stroud is still going to get you 10 to 15 right now. That's disappointing, but it's still 10 to 15. Cooper Rush doesn't have to get you 10.
No, I don't like it. King Geechee, what's going on, man? He goes flex position, Devontae Adams, A-Chain, or McLaurin. I'm assuming this is full PPR, A-Chain. I think that's an easy one for both of us. Mr. Bakes a lot. Welcome back, my friend. Always glad to see you. He goes Kenneth Gainwell or Tyler Algier as a RB2 if you have Bijan full PPR.
Gainwell.
I agree. Better matchup. No, actually, Never mind. Giants. Tyler Algier. Run both. Enjoy. Jose Rodriguez.
I like Gainwell just because I think the Eagles have the biggest chance to kind of blow out, and I think Saquon is the biggest argument for getting his goal line carries.
I think it's
tested.
the opposite. I think
You think so?
I think it's the Falcons have more of an opportunity to destroy the Giants, and then it's both running Algier and him.
That's a close one. I don't know. I guess I'm slightly more down on Penix and their overall
understood, but that's
ecosystem.
but that's
You
still
might
my
be
whole
right.
point, though. They could just keep running the damn ball through Bijan and Algier the whole time.
I
That's
gotta
my
look
thought
that one up.
process.
You might be right on that one.
So pick Jose goes pick 1. Mixon, Dottle, Hall, Taylor, Miller, Ford. Mixon, right?
It's one of those like if Mixon's healthy, you just play him.
Yeah,
Just
I
eat
like
it.
Mixon. Yeah, you're gonna have to
Look at the whole season as a whole.
Live
if
and
he's
die
ever
by
been
the
injured,
sword.
but he plays, how did that game go? And those games are 30-point games sometimes. You're just gonna play him.
Yeah, I agree. Every time I think we're losing somebody or losing and getting to the bottom, it never ends. And it's
Got a
great.
great
I
chat
love,
today, man.
dude. This is fantastic.
I hope I feel like we're giving our best stuff here. I hope.
So. Ogre 42 standard McMillan, Bigsby, Keenan Allen, or Kendrick Miller at flex. I think Miller's out for both of us. This is a tougher one for me.
Keenan and McMillan, right?
I like Keenan a little bit more. It's standard. I like his scenario a little bit more than I do Bigsby, but I like Bigsby. It's between Bigsby and Allen for me. If I'm ranking it, it's Bigsby, Allen, McMillan.
I like the fact that they're going to be trailing from the get-go, and Keenan Allen is just going to have to get peppered all game. They're going to have to.
That's my other thought.
And if Caleb decides to have a halfway decent game once in his life, and this is it, Keelan could actually go pretty big.
I mean, he's had 3 touchdowns, I think, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he goes off, he goes off. McMillan needs a touchdown to beat him. Like, if neither have a touchdown, it's Keenan, right? So if we're looking at that, it's Keenan.
That's why I said, yeah, I think it's Keenan. I think I can lean Keenan without, really thinking too hard. Blizzard, what's going on, man? He goes, what's up, guys? He goes, who should I start, Jennings or Strange in full PPR? And it's half-point tight end premium.
Jennings.
I'm still leaning Jennings.
Jennings has more touchdown upside than Strange by a decent margin.
Yeah, and it's still good. Start 2 in standard. Man, so many standard leagues. Ray the Game.
I didn't know they were still doing that, man.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's gotten a lot more
legacy
popular.
Standard leagues,
So start 2 in standard. Cup versus the Jets. Garrett Wilson versus the Rams. Jacoby Myers versus the Jaguars. He sat McConkey. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's standard. So
standard. No, that's fine in standard.
And then I picked 1 tight end in standard. So we're gonna pick from that group first.
Cup.
So Garrett Wilson, Myers, or Cup. Who do you think?
I'm just never betting against Cup. I can't do it until I stop seeing.
Jets have been putrid against the pass. I'm going Cup. And then pick 1 tight end in standard. Zach Ertz, he's hurt, so I'm not playing him. So it's Hunter Henry or Dalton Kincaid.
Hunter Henry. Oh,
Hunter
my
Henry.
He's going to have to get 12 targets. He has to. There's nobody, and they're going to be down by 50.
Yeah, I agree. Where do you guys rank Vikings defense this week? Currently, I have Vikings defense at 2.
I got 4.
Yeah. So top 4.
Packers, Bills, Falcons. I have them basically tied. Vikings, Bengals are pretty much really close for me, but I like the Vikings better.
And then Aubrey is number 1 for me. Aubrey is currently, I'm playing him over guys like Chimeri. I have both Aubrey and Chimeri, and I'm playing Aubrey.
Aubrey will be my kicker one forever.
Yeah, he's kicking indoors, and he's on a good offense that can stutter and die.
I just think he's objectively like the best kicker in the league, bar any weather conditions of any kind.
110%. Yeah, I like him a lot. The fact that they gave him a chance for a 70-yard field goal, even though he shanked it to the left, was pretty impressive.
I think he's going to hit the next one, man. He's going to want that.
I hope
so bad.
That's my hope. DL, what's going on, brother? He goes Caleb or Richardson. I think we both agree it's Richardson. I don't care if it's sport or not.
yeah, honestly, it doesn't.
Aguado, or no, did I get that wrong?
Eduardo Navarez?
No. Is it Aguado? No. Yeah, whatever. I'm so sorry. I'm extremely tired, and I'm at the point where we might shut this down, and I won't even realize it. So Njoku, if healthy or Strange, I think I'm still going to lean Strange.
Yeah, and Joku, I got big hesitations. They might pass the ball 10 times.
I agree. Well, maybe. Where do you guys have Gibbs, Bijan,
10?
and Kyrie? Yeah. I'm
Oh my
facing Barkley,
God.
Connor, and Irving. I'm facing Baker. When I have Lamar, I'm nervous. Yeah, I mean, good luck. This is the time of year where you're going to be facing guys like this.
No, I got Gibbs, Bijan, and Kyron as the better 3 by a decent margin.
Oh, me too.
Barkley, Connor, and Irving.
Yeah. So you're fine. You're just gonna have to buckle in and enjoy Sunday. That's what I'm going to be doing. Jose again goes Mixon or Dottle or Ford.
Mixon.
I agree. It's hard for me to go against Mixon. Most of these questions I'll be answering Mixon. Packers, Colts, or Bengals?
Packers.
It's Packers. We both agreed. We've seen that a lot today, which is great. Cooler Hand, what's going on, brother? He goes London Addison or Patrick Taylor. It's my championship game, full PPR. Ooh.
London for sure. It's definitely not Taylor. It's not Taylor by several thousand miles.
It's
I'm
between
going
London and Addison, and I might be okay playing Addison over London. Would you rather have Sam Darnold or Penix?
Let's consult the rankings.
Oh, I have London higher, but I think if I had this scenario, I would probably play Addison over.
Do I have London higher, guys?
I definitely
very
have
high.
London
Holy
higher.
shit,
I have London very high. I have London at 14 comparatively.
So crazy. Yeah, I still have London higher, but I was surprised that I had Addison so close to him.
I had Addison at 25 and London at 20 or at 14. So it's one of those scenarios where they're pretty close. They're within a tier of one another. Do I feel comfortable?
Addison's just behind JSN at 21 and 22 for me.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm okay with Addison just because of the way he's been playing. The matchup's good. It's going to be a little rainy, so if you're going to go by that, London is not a bad choice. So I'm okay with picking London.
Oh, I forgot about the weather being a little bit of a factor.
But it's just a small factor, though. It's not like it's going to be 50-mile-an-hour winds with 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Yeah, no, whatever. I'm going to go London either way. I convinced myself it's London. I know I'm too tired, boys and girls. We're getting there. We appreciate everything.
All right, 5 seconds. Let's power through. We got this.
We've already answered a lot of these questions, so it's kind of easy moving through. So playoffs, baby. What's going on, Dylan Fink? Great to have you here. He goes full PPR, different leagues. All right, we'll try our best.
1 RB, 1 flex.
He lost Kamara and Garendo, so that sucks. So he goes start 1, running back, and 1 flex. Abdullah, Madison, Spears, Odunze, or Strange. So one of the running backs, you're starting Spears.
If Pollard's out, it's Spears. If Pollard plays, I'm going to take the upside of O'Dunes in the matchup over Strange.
Well, remember, he still needs a running back. So remember that.
I'm looking at his running backs over here. So he's already playing. Oh, he's not already playing one of these. So it's 1 RB objectively.
Correct. So 1 RB out of Abdullah, Madison, and Spears. Who?
So it's really Kenneth Walker or Ford. Or do you have a particular?
No. Skip that. Don't go that low yet. Start 1 running back and 1 flex, and we're gonna go Abdullah, Madison, and Spears. So you're picking one of the 3. Spears, correct?
Yeah.
Then from that group, Abdullah, Madison, and Dunze or Strange. Rome. I agree. Now let's go to one running back. It's either Walker, Ford, Miller, or Spears.
Ford.
I'm going to go Ford as well. RB1, tight end, and defense. Walker, Miller, Abdullah.
Walker, Henry, Green Bay.
I can agree with that. I'm going to go with that too. I like that. Nice. That was a good one.
I love the way it was structured, by the way. Thank you for providing.
Dylan is always a very well-structured guy when he does these, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, Dylan. Let's go with 44 times 2 TV. What's going on, man? He goes JSN or Addison. It's JSN.
JSN 1 spot higher, even with the rain.
yeah, I'm gonna do JSN. They're facing each other, so it
Oh,
doesn't
there
matter.
he's well,
Yeah.
even with the rain, no problem. JS, I love JSN the way he's been playing lately. The
JSN
eye
is my
test.
answer until further notice. JSN or Addison or Zay Flowers, 3-way question. Thank you guys. No problem, man. I'm still gonna
JSN's like
play.
legitimately the one right now too, where
Yeah.
like Addison's not the one. So
Yeah.
I think you really have to look at it that way. He's
I told
passed up
you.
DK entirely.
I already told you in the last since week 11. Jackson
7.
Smith. I mean, Jordan Addison's been wide receiver 5 from week 11 to 5 or to 15. So I understand it. I understand why you're torn, but I'm still going to go JSN. He has more volume. Addison has more touchdown upside. So I understand. But
Yeah.
I'm going to lean
Addison
JSN.
seems kind of boom bust. He could have 6 points. He could have
he
36
could.
points. Zay Flowers, I don't like the matchup as much personally. I think his usage is starting to trail off just a little bit. He could still go big, but I don't like him in this matchup. This one in particular, JSN. If Zay Flowers had a better matchup, I would go Zay over JSN, just not in this case.
Lamar can pass for 20 and still win the game.
And running a little bit more. Yeah. Henry should have a better should have a get right game, I think.
That's the hope, my friends. That's the hope. So let's go to Dan Tenenbaum. What's going on, man? He goes, Brock Purdy or Cooper Rush? It's Brock Purdy. Also, Taylor, Patrick, or Kendrick? It's Tracy. Half PPR. It doesn't really matter. London or Neighbors? We keep getting this question, man. London. I agree. Jose goes, need a wide receiver start. Marvin Harrison Jr., Debo, Jaden Reed or McMillan. For the both of us, we both have said that Reed is pretty much out of this equation. I think
he didn't capitalize Jaden Reed for that specific reason. Nicely done.
I think it's really just because I think really at this point it's Debo or McMillan.
I do think it's Debo McMillan. With the running back situation, I am going Debo just particularly because I think Debo gets a lot of running this game. He's had a really rough run of it, but Jalen's had bad games too. Debo's more talented than Jalen McMillan straight up. MHJ, I think, is more talented than all of them, but Kyler has really not been playing good. Debo, the combination of all the opportunities to get something, and I think they have to. I'm going to lean Debo. I feel a little bit gross about it, but it mostly has to do with they have no running back, and I think Debo has to make something happen.
They're going to have to involve Debo, and I think that they're at a point where they have no other choice at this point, and, I'm agreeing. I think it's Debo very strongly. Robert, what's going on, brother? Great to have you here tonight. I'm going to read this below because I think this is absolutely hilarious. He says, came across your channel tonight and generally enjoy the discourse. Y'all should add someone with a little unhinged because y'all are pretty sensible. Hey, to be quite fair, there are times that me and him are incredibly unhinged, and this is one of those moments.
I'm not nearly as hammered as I normally am. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've only had my 9.5, and I'm falling asleep. So,
Robert, you got to stay with us, Robert, though, because I feel like ask the chat. They'll tell you normally I'm a Bears fan, so I live unhinged, man. Right? I've just given up hope. So like I'm more even keel, right? Yeah. Like you're a Giants fan, I'm a Bears fan. The season's so damn over that now we're just kicking it. You know what I mean? Like Notre Dame won, I'm good.
Nothing.
But 2 or 3 weeks ago, when Neighbors was like, is he brain dead or not? What's the future? What's happening there? Caleb, what the F? Yeah, I'd say our average is mostly pretty damn unhinged. But
yeah, we have moments. You're just catching us on a off night, if you will. So Bucky, Rashad White, Jonathan Taylor, and Devon Achane. Who do I start? It's Devon Achane, and I think we both can agree with that. It's pretty. Need 2 to play. So Achane or the others, and I think it's Bucky, right?
Let's see, Bucky or JT, and JT's got a pretty. No, he's got Titans. What were the options again? I'm gonna look it up again.
Titans. Titans or Dallas. I'm going Bucky. So it's Bucky and Achane.
I'm gonna go JT by a hair. I hate it, but I like that JT has all the work.
Okay.
It's so close though.
44 times 2 TV. He goes Addison or Blatters. It's Addison. We both agree with that. We got Goto Cody in the house again. What's going on, brother? He goes, what's up, guys? He goes, flex Najee or Romeo Dobbs.
PPR Dobbs, half PPR, standard Najee.
I'm going to agree with that. That's actually a really good. I love those two. And yeah,
it's a great question, though.
I agree. Herbert or Goff? Well, You already
Goff,
played
have-
Herbert.
Herbert would have been good. Oh, okay, you can take Herbert's guaranteed whatever he had for your scoring for him.
Oh,
or Goff.
he said rest of the season. All right, my bad.
Goff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Goff. Next 2 games, I feel pretty
Their
confident.
defense is worse. That's a big thing. When their defense was better, Montgomery is injured for at least the rest of the fantasy playoffs. That is a big deal. That's rushing touchdowns off the board. Gibbs has an equal chance of scoring a rushing as he does a receiving touchdown. That's a pretty big boon for Goff. Laporta is his best offensive red zone weapon, even over Amon-Ra St. Brown. With Monty out of the game, it's a big boot for a guy who's already throwing 4 passing touchdowns. You gotta go Goff. If you remember, his rest of seasons too is also a lot of they're all favorable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all indoors. I forget what his next week matchup is, but I just know it's fine.
He had 14 out of 17 games indoors. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's on an absolute freaking tear right now. He's in the zone.
Mahomes or Richardson? Gross. None.
I'm gonna drink first and then answer the question. Jesus,
Yeah,
why would you? Damn, man.
Yeah, I hate
that's
that
pointed. That's pointed at me, isn't it?
Right?
I'm going Mahomes. I can't.
It's
I can't
Mahomes,
do it. I
and-
can't do Richardson. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm too pissed to do Richardson.
I have Richardson ranked higher, but it's definitely Mahomes, and it's only because I know Mahomes. I mean, we've
The
heard
spread,
this
I
song
feel
and
like
dance.
Richardson's
We've
not
heard
putting
the
up
song
30
and
points.
dance before. They said that he has a hurt ankle, so then everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna have no rushing floor," and then all of a sudden he rushes for 50 yards and he's fine. It's fine.
He's got a bum ankle, which means that if the team breathes on him, it's a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, good point. So Sam Pizza, what's going on, brother? He goes, "Hey guys, need a flex to get to the championship week." All right, playing against Josh Allen. I am too. I'm playing with and against Josh Allen, so got to make every right move.
So we need upside.
All right, so half PPR, Ridley, McMillan. Wow.
Okay, we answered this one.
Group. I'm making a
We said
thumbnail with
what
all of these.
do you remember
guys.
what we said? That we said if Pollard's out, it's Spears. If that's
Correct.
not the case, what did we say for Ridley or
Ridley.
McMillan? But half PPR, did we also say Ridley?
I
Is
think
half
that one was
PPR
a
McMillan
poll.
over Ridley, or is it still Ridley?
It's still Ridley. I like Ridley. I think it's Ridley.
I think Ridley's the stone cold 1. McMillan's the 2. So we kind of have to go Ridley, right?
Yeah, but if Pollard's playing, he's in.
If Pollard's playing, it's so
Oh
clearly
wait,
Pollard.
no.
Yeah.
It doesn't show that he has Pollard. So for me, it's Ridley.
Oh yeah, it's only Spears if Pollard is out. So yeah, it's definitely Ridley then in any case. If Pollard is out, I would go Spears.
Hold on one sec. Just
Everyone picking up McMillan, man. I love
yeah,
it.
a lot of people with McMillan. I like these questions here. So we already answered this again. So it's Addison.
Definitely Addison. Yeah.
Ogre going. Thanks, guys. Great insight. We appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks,
That's
man.
what we're here. Helping you guys out. Robert going. Hey, again, popping back in. Did I miss? Maybe. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Kick Rocks. Great. I love the name. Brees Hall or Jacoby Myers. It's Brees Hall for both of us.
Brees.
So here's the question: Goff outside at Alfdo or Alpha?
Goff outside.
At Bears. So he's outside this week.
Yeah. I'm still gonna go Goff. I get it. It's like, oh my god, Goff with like a touch of weather. He's gonna shrivel up and die, and that is scary. But dude, he's absolutely killing it lately.
So Goff or Darnold?
Darnold in the rain against you. I'm going Goff, dude. I'm just going Goff.
I'm gonna stick with Goff against the Bears.
Yeah, that offense seems damn near unbeatable. The Bears seem like they're really in trouble. We're actually flailing. Our defense is starting to give up on our offense. As much as I am a diehard Bears fan, I think our secondary is pretty good. Jalen Johnson is just overworked. There's too many. How do you match up against all of Detroit's offensive talent? There's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. Holy shnikes. When I think that we're done, we're not.
Never.
We are never done. We are going to wrap this up soon. So I really do appreciate everybody here. We're starting to get down to the part where we're both exhausted. I wasn't planning.
We just don't want to
doing
give bad
3 hours.
takes, guys. We don't want to just throw shit at you. I promise.
I'm at the point where I didn't think we were doing a 3-hour show, so I'm starting to wear down a little bit. So Ray goes, I know you guys said Cup. Who's the second wide receiver you would play, Wilson or Myers, in that non-PPR?
Wilson for touchdown upside.
Correct. I would go the same route because Myers just makes more sense. Or sorry, Wilson makes more sense. Kick Rocks goes, and do I start Jaden Daniels?
I wouldn't worry. I know he had a bad game against the Eagles last time, but he's also going to remember he had a bad game last time. I think he comes back in a big way. Their defense is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be all right.
Yeah, and that was a while ago. Ray Gamer goes, thanks for the help. As always, Ray, that's what we're here for. Glad to have you here. Robert asks us another question. Full PPR needs a flex this week between Ford, Hopkins, and Coleman.
I like Ford a lot there.
I like Ford too. Yeah, in most scenarios, if I'm gonna go with a running back in a flex position, it's usually when it's, if it's full PPR, it's a pass catching guy. The hard part is DTR lowers his ceiling a little bit. So I understand it, but I trust getting the guaranteed touch over the guys that I have no idea.
I'll provide context, like if Juju was out or if any number of options.
Give me more than
Chiefs,
one. Yeah,
I would. But I can't predict that D Hop's previous form in the last 3 or 4 games is going to be the same now that everyone's healthy. They have Pacheco back. They have all these things. They're a defensive team. There's so much against him, and Ford is like, I get all the touches, I get all the catches, I get all the carries, I get the goal line. He gets everything, and he's also pretty talented. It's too much volume for Ford, and he's a guy that, look at early in the season, I mean, he was catching 6-7 balls a game. He's a decent pass catcher. I mean, it's too much involvement. Elijah Moore, concussion protocol, stuff like that. I mean, there's just way too much volume for Ford to pass up for us, I think, in our opinion.
Mike Dobbs, thank you so much for your subscription. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
We really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm not going to respond.
Did we do it?
Hold on, no, we're not done yet. So Rob Thomas goes, which rookie wide receiver are you guys drafting first in 25? Full PPR redraft leagues, Malik or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Neighbors.
Okay. I'm gonna probably lean Brian Thomas Jr. I am a Giants fan. I would be the last one to tell you to get him, but it's really based on the quarterback that we pick up in the offseason. I do like Neighbors talent wise, but I like BTJ just a smidge more. I liked what I saw this year, and he's definitely heavily involved, regardless of who's the QB. Neighbors has been involved. I like what he does, but I do like what the Jags have been doing. So I'm gonna go with BTJ here, only by a smidge though. So Robert says he's sticking around for sure. Glad to be here. I'm a Commanders fan. That's always fine. I have no problem with Commanders fans. We both hate Eagles and the Cowboys, so I'm always good with that.
I wish I wasn't a division as weak as yours, man.
Yeah.
The one year I thought the Bears might make something happen, everyone around us is the best in the damn NFL, and now we're screwed forever.
Yeah.
I'll swap gladly. Commander, you got to be so happy as a Commanders fan. New ownership. Quarterback of the damn
you guys
future.
are in a good situation. I like
it. Oh, hey, remember Terry McLaurin's really good. Brian Thomas.
He's been really good.
It's so much upside. Like the rookie tight end we all forgot about that still could play good next year if Ertz wasn't so damn good. Like there's a lot to feel good about on that.
Yeah,
team.
I was really looking forward to Ben Sennett. So Tyreek or Coker, don't overthink this. It's Tyreek.
Yeah.
Don't try to overthink your matchups. Just play your stud. Downs, McMillan, Debo, or Dobbs?
Debo.
I'm gonna go Debo too. We've had a lot of questions in that particular realm. Tracy or Patrick Taylor? We already kind of answered this. It's Tracy, JC. So I'm gonna go Tracy as well. Robert goes, did I miss the year McMillan is having or something? Holy shit, he's in every question. Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you there, Robert, here's a reason why he is currently in a lot of these conversations. He's not ranked high, but he's the number 2 in a Tampa Bay offense, which is ran by Baker.
3 touchdowns last 2 weeks.
He had 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. He's had 13 targets with 9 catches. And over 100 and I got to do math, over 130 yards. So he's been wide receiver 7 and 17 the last 2 weeks. So that's part of why he's been a little bit more involved and why he's in these conversations.
And if anyone's a
Drew-
dynasty player in the house too, McMillan is kind of one of those like, hey,
Oh, he's
we
a
told you
sneaky
he was
good.
hot, dude. He's a nice player.
He's a sneaky late round guy that a lot of people grabbed, and he, if you listen to this guy over here, and to I know Phil's been on him too, so
He was big for Washington. Honestly, outside of an injury, he would have been way higher in the
huge.
NFL draft. So if you follow out of college ball, he was one healthier season away from honestly hurting Rome's draft stock quite a bit. I mean, He was very, very, very good and a very nice. And the pass offense he was in Washington honestly matches what Baker the Laser is doing over there with all sorts of crazy. Let's pass the ball a million times. He fits right in pretty well. There's a scheme fit there too.
Yeah. Drew goes Najee, Pat Taylor, or Jerome Ford. I think we both agreed it's Jerome Ford, half PPR. So Jerome Ford. Blue Pill. This is our team. This is our Colts. We love them. I don't know where that's referring to, and I'm sorry if I don't.
I like our coaching staff. I will like us next year when AR has a little bit more there. We're gonna get there. It's a slow burn, but we're gonna get there. I have to get there. I need to get there, so we're gonna get there.
Just for your takes. So LaPaul, he's asking sit one, Shakir, JSN, and Jennings. Full PPR. It's Jennings.
Yeah, it is Jennings. It really is.
It's Jennings for me. I mean, Shakir is a close second, but it's really Jennings.
I just don't think that game has to be a big over-under. I think it could be underwhelming. And now the only caveat here, check the weather and timings. If it looks like the weather is going to get even worse in the JSN game with particularly the winds, I could pivot to sitting JSN if the weather gets a little uglier. So pay attention to that.
Yeah, but with everything perfect, you're sitting Jennings.
Yep.
Michael Dobbs, what's going on, man? He goes championship game. Pick one running back and one flex. It's half PPR. So one running back between Pacheco, Miller, and Tajay.
I'm going Pacheco, but
out.
I'm going Spears if Pollard's out. But Pacheco otherwise.
I'm going to go Pacheco as well. I like Pacheco's matchup way better than Tajay. Well,
this feels like the week to be in on Pacheco because I know he hasn't been amazing, but he's Pacheco.
But here's the thing. If
offense.
you play Pacheco, you can't play Pollard.
Yeah.
Or Tajay in this case. McMillan or Ridley out of the grouping. Would you play Tajay over Ridley or McMillan? We've already kind of discussed this a few times.
I like the upside of Ridley. Yeah, I know it seems like Ridley can disappoint, but I tend to follow the targets, and I think the change in quarterback play is going to be a positive one.
Yeah. So will Swift go off? I don't think he'll go off, but I think he'll have a decent game.
Yeah. I don't project him super highly because I don't think that the Bears have enough offensive total output. Like, if you were to say, what's his involvement? His involvement will be high. His production will be slightly mediocre.
What's your projection?
I see him
under 100. I'm under 100 with all. I'm under 100 total purpose yards with a touchdown.
He'll have 15 to 18 carries. I think he's going to be about a 4 yard per carry because I think he's been averaging pretty decent there, and it might be a little bit of a run funnel, stop the big plays. I don't see Caleb checking down very often lately. It doesn't seem like it's a big thing for him. So the challenge is I don't see him catching more than about 3 passes. Earlier in the season, we had more confidence. So when I'm looking at 60 to 70 rushing yards with about 3 catches for about 20 yards. So we're looking at about a 10 to 12 point game.
Yeah.
If he falls in the end zone, it's obviously a lot better for him, but I don't project that will be all that likely.
So Robert goes, what's your boy's goal with this? I know it's not a fantasy question, but y'all do y'all want to be fantasy guys, fantasy related content creators? Where are y'all planning to take this? So I'll give you a little background just for those that are new to the show. We have a lot of people watching, and Robert's new one. We have a lot of new subscribers. For those that don't know us and haven't followed us, please make sure you guys like and subscribe to the show for one. 2, make sure you guys kind of take a look back at what we've done in the past. We normally do a lot more. We do a lot of off-season content. We do a lot of mock drafts during the off-season. We tend to do we'll do a mock draft championship, which is just a fun way to get yourself involved and work with people that tend to have the same mindset that we do, which is we do a lot of mock drafts because we're trying to get ourselves ready for the, that particular season. And basically we don't, like, our one big thing that we love is that we don't have autos. We don't have a lot of auto drafters because we all are involved. We want to be there for every round. We don't just end at the 6th round and then go, oh, I'm done. Like, no, everybody in these groups will actively participate. We have our own sleeper channel. If you look in the description, you can join that sleeper channel. It's free. It's just a group of great people with like-minded, individuals. We run a ton of mocks during the year. That's part of how we found Kendall, is just being involved in these particular mock drafts. And, we got involved with that very heavily. I am trying, we are above 1,000. So we are, in the process of getting monetized. We're trying to be involved. We are trying to be involved in this particular game. I have good relationships with other, content creators as well. I am very heavily involved. I went to the Fantasy, Football Expo. I've been a part of a lot of conversations with a lot of other people in other particular.
Scott Fish and the boys love you.
I've worked with everybody at Scott Fishbowl in one way or another. I meet up with Russell, for Scott Fishbowl, and I've met Scott. I met all those guys, and then I've been involved with other guys that are part of football guys and fantasy pros and Sirius XM. We've had people like Lindsey Rhodes come on here. We've had Howard Bender. We've had David Kluge. We've had Adam Rank. We've had a bunch of guys and girls be on this particular show. So we are definitely trying to grow this and make it that. So we are, we do a little bit of everything, but we're going to be starting a lot more Dynasty with Kendall here and Phil, and getting a little bit more involved, and Tycoon as well. So a lot of Dynasty content this offseason. So keep an eye out for that. Keep your notifications on. So yeah, we are heavily involved, and we are always around. We always try to be involved in helping you guys in any way, shape, or form. So definitely keep supporting the channel. We appreciate all those that have been giving us super chats and so on. So thank you. So,
and then Robert, just to add, I feel like I joined these guys because they have a really tight knit group of high end drafting. The mock draft community. I got in these guys because I'm big in Dynasty, but my big core competency is I'm a big just game theory, optimal kind of
analyst
strategy guy. I love messing around with math, numbers, and all those sorts of things. So I really like that. It's hard to find objective sample sizes, right? And so I want to practice as early and as often and test out different strategies, and then make tons of notes, come out with content over what worked, what didn't work, as we try to solve the board each year ahead of time, right? And the best group of guys I found a draft with was the Get Right community. It was, I could hop on almost any time of day and hop into a very hyper competitive mock, very anti ADP, like very early ahead of ADP, because they were kind of sharp on some of the guys that were going to rise. So if you're looking for a mock draft community to really do some hardcore prep, that's how I joined these guys. And it seemed like they went from a hardcore community that's really great to now expanding into multiple shows, and they're already well connected. So I think this was a pretty good year of growth from you guys in terms of 7 days of content from you guys, you and Ross, to having to do 4-hour marathon sessions and all the stuff yourself. So I'm new to this too. But me and you are doing that. So it feels like from a couple days a week to 7 days a week, multiple people adding new guests. All of us are pretty hungry to do a little bit more in different areas.
Well, Robert,
stick with us in the off season, man. We're going to do some things.
I appreciate this as well. He says I have video editing and graphic design and content creation experience. I'd love to help any way I can in community being formed. We appreciate that. Like I said, definitely reach out to us on Sleeper or on X. This is my particular handle. You can always reach out.
We actually respond to everybody.
I do my best to make sure that I respond to everybody. So if you ever want to reach out and get to know us a little bit more, or just have a nice conversation, I can show you the things I've done. I kind of do a little bit of the content creation for our group. I do a lot of the thumbnails for this group. I do the video the intro that you guys see and stuff like that. So I do a lot of that. We don't do a lot of video editing because of the concept that we do more live than we do video. The video we're working on in the off season to be a little bit more involved with that. But beyond that, we pretty much do a lot of live because we love the interaction between us and you, because it helps us with getting our our point across. It's just a little bit easier, and I just love talking to people and getting their opinions. So we got Cody. Oh yeah. Cody would definitely be someone that would give us a little extra.
Yeah, Cody's got a show, man. Check him
Yeah.
out, dude.
Check him out on Saturdays. So he said, Robert said, I'm glad that I was able to ask questions just because you guys elaborate. Thanks. Yeah, that's one thing everyone loves about us. We will dive into our takes when we have them.
Yeah.
So Rocky goes full PPR.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Whoa. Wait a minute.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm so sorry.
Hey, I got you, Ishmael. Don't worry. I'm looking for you, buddy.
I apologize. He goes Garrett Wilson or Brian Thomas Jr. for flex spot.
I can't sit Brian Thomas Jr. right
I
now.
can't sit Brian
can't
Thomas
do it.
Jr.
He's
You're
so
playing
damn good.
Yeah, and it's a very tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I like Garrett Wilson, but I'm not gonna sit him for Brian.
Yeah,
Nope.
BTJ is almost in my top 10, and he's right there.
And be happy that you have him as a flex option.
Yeah, I mean, he's nearly a wide receiver one.
Yeah. So I hope that helped. I mean, you must have a stacked group to have him as your flex. So thank you, Ishmael. We really do appreciate it. Rocky,
yeah. And Ishmael, if I had to give you like one layer, because you're throwing some money our way, right?
Yeah.
The biggest issue I have there is their running game is now a little bit more healthy. Devontae Adams is obviously taking over a massive target share. There is a very good chance. Garrett Wilson has a long time in the league. I do think there is some sort of camaraderie between. Aaron Rodgers is having a big issue in the press media. Everyone's attacking him. He's going to the one guy.
Garrett Wilson already said that he doesn't know if he's going to be here next year, but that's a long-term deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know what I mean? Garrett Wilson's got a lot of opportunity. I think the Aaron Devontae thing is going to be pretty special. It's clearly that's a thing. That's one of the reasons why I'm like Garrett Wilson. There's actual issues in paradise over there, and Brian Thomas Jr. is just their end all be all. We will give you the ball 10 billion times a game.
Yeah.
It's the roadway is just so clean for one of these guys, and I think you could have a lot of regret with Garrett Wilson. If he makes another ridiculous catch, so be it. But BTJ is just too damn consistent. His role, as viewed by the quarterback and the coaching staff, is just too guaranteed.
Yeah, I agree. Let me get back to questions. Sorry, I'm jumping all over here. So Rocky goes full PPR. Keenan Allen, Najee, or Brian Robinson Jr. I'm going Brian Robinson Jr.
This is really close. I'm going to go Keenan because I think that he's going to have to catch 10 passes for them to do anything in this game. I do think that Keenan has started to become a little bit of a comfort in a lot of ways for Caleb. It seems like he wants to go to Keenan, and Keenan's
for like 12 for 5 and like 2 and a touchdown. It's just annoying for me.
He's having these weird lines. They are very weird.
He's not. I think people overhyped Caleb in the pros. I think he has a ton of talent. He can scramble with the best of them. The problem is he needs to learn how to get the ball out quick, and I think he's learning that. I think it's going to take a lot more time and better coaching.
He's got 101 symptom. If he was drafted where Bo Nix was, we'd be talking about him very differently. But also the optics are also very different when you're that guy. And their coaching staff is not helping him personally. I watch every snap of every Bears game. I mean, I'm diehard, and I think our play calling is fucking atrocious.
Oh no,
no sense to me.
They need to get rid of Eberflus and go a different route. And it doesn't make any sense that they kept him. They should have cut bait and ran. And
I don't know why we hired him in the first place. It just makes no sense to me. Everyone with a defensive head coach when we're drafting.
You don't get rid of him. Me and you can have this conversation later. But
I think the Giants and Bears should get together in a little think tank and be like,
no,
we should do the opposite of whatever we've done.
The only thing we should do is follow the concept of the trade.
You want to switch divisions?
No,
I'm game for that.
No, you can keep your division. So yeah, I'm going Brian Robinson Jr. and it's really just because he's more guaranteed and he had a good game last time.
Why am I picking a Bears player so I can disappoint myself again? I probably shouldn't do. Honestly, it's probably BTJ. Or sorry, it's probably Brian Robinson. I think the matchup's a little tougher, but
okay. So we have the same question twice, but it looks like it's two different. Well, I don't know if it's two different. Rocky didn't clarify, but it looks like it is full PPR. So it's either full or half. And Edun is going to ask the same question with Brenton Strange or Fryermuth. So what
I'm
are we
going
doing?
Strange. I feeling. I like Strange. I feel like Fryermuth on his best day in that offense is still doing this weird 3 target thing, but the Pickens being out is kind of a thing. My tiebreaker is, man, that matchup is kind of mean, and I don't think Russ is actually that good.
I might have to lean Strange a little bit, and they're right next to each other. 12 for 11 is a tough stat to get away from, especially, if he's going to be Evan Ingram, that stat is fine. I'm going to go.
Freiermuth has 3 targets some games. Strange has 12.
And
what's Freiermuth's most targeted game this season? 7?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like
if that.
He's just
I didn't even
he's
look.
not getting close to the opportunity. He's a better tight end. I'll say that right now. I just think the opportunity is not there.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, Baker or Burrow, considering the matchup.
I can't sit Burrow. I just can't do it. If Burrow goes off for like 500 points, I won't be on that end of it.
No, I'd rather lose with Burrow and, see what happens, because I like Burrow a lot more than I like Baker. Taylor's out.
If T. Higgins was out, I would then seriously consider Baker. But I would need T to be out before I consider Baker.
I would have played Bo Nix over Burrow.
Anybody.
I would have played Bo Nix over Burrow this week, and I didn't, and I picked Burrow.
I had a lot of Nix and Herbert on the same team, and I didn't know what to do. And I went Nix everywhere and was wrong.
By only a couple points, though.
Yeah.
So Patrick Taylor, Dobbs, or Bigsby. I think Patrick Taylor for both of us is out. It's really between Dobbs and Bigsby.
Ooh, wow, that is pretty gross.
So Ishmael.
It's not Bigsby, because Bigsby could be. We don't know what the game script. We don't know if Bigsby's going to have 10 carries.
This time I got you, Ishmael.
Hey, there it is. Got me.
So he goes, thanks for the help. Not a problem, brother. He goes, another league, McLaurin or DJ Moore in the flex spot.
Wow.
Yeah, you hate this question.
Honestly, I don't, though. I like it.
No, we had this question before.
I think
it's this exact question.
I think for me, this is going to be a crazy answer. But I'm hyper leaning into the fact that I think that Caleb's going to have to throw the ball a lot. And I think that the matchup, particularly for Washington, is really rough at the corners. I think they're going to have to throw a lot of passes to the running back. I think they have to do a lot of passes to the tight end. I think this is a DJ Moore over McLaurin game, because this could be a McLaurin game where he catches 2 passes, and that could either be for 20 yards or for 100 and a touchdown. But I don't like the spread. I think DJ Moore has an underwhelming game yardage-wise. Maybe he doesn't catch a touchdown, but I do think he catches probably – 10 to 12 targets, 8 catches for 60 yards is still, a pretty decent amount of points. And I think a much safer floor than McLaurin if McLaurin doesn't get into the end zone. I am taking DJ Moore in PPR. I would take Terry in half PPR, but it would be very close then. This is clearly a DJ Moore for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with DJ Moore as well. I do agree with everything he just said. The Bears game currently is Lions are favored by 6.5. They're going to have to keep up. 48-point over under just means Vegas thinks that it's going to be like that. So I'm going to go with that as well. Let's go to Adam. We already talked about this, but Patrick Taylor, Dobbs, or Bigsby. I'm going to have to lean Dobbs. I like the situation a little bit better.
Did he say PPR, half PPR?
No, but I'm gonna assume full.
Assuming full, I'm going to go Dobbs. Half PPR, I am going to switch to Patrick Taylor, though, just because I think Dobbs has a low enough floor that Patrick Taylor has a slightly higher touchdown opportunity, just being the position of running back. And so in half PPR, I am going to lean towards where the touchdowns probably go, and that's going to lean a little bit more towards there. I think Dobbs is kind of like a 4-catch for 40-yard kind of guy, very underwhelming. So Patrick has a little more upside in half PPR specifically.
Yeah, I'm still leaning Dobbs.
They're very close. They're kind of, they're so close because we're talking about like an 8 to 12 point projection. We're within very, very tight windows here.
I'm still going Dobbs in this one.
I think so too.
Yeah. Start Walker with the top matchup over Madison full PPR. The answer is yes. Rollo.
Definitely.
You can't go off that.
Abdullah could still be kind of. Well, I actually got to look at the injuries there, but no, the Raiders are just so junk.
Yeah, for sure. So JC goes, would you play Rodgers or Stafford over Mahomes? Yes. Quick answer is yes.
Yeah, I would. Honestly, I would take Rodgers over both at this point.
I go Stafford just because I like the offense better.
Or what's Stafford's matchup this week again?
Stafford's going against the Jets.
Rams have. Ooh, it is Rodgers against Stafford.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, I would actually take Stafford here.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going Stafford as well. I like Stafford in his matchup a little bit better than I like Rodgers. So Bearded Villain wanted the chat to help, but I'm going to help you too. Madison or Tracy, we both agree it's Tracy. We don't even have to think twice about that one. LaPaul, he goes, am I starting Irving and HN, but wondering if I should start Dottle, Brian Robinson Jr. in the flex? I would start.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Brian Robinson Jr. No, Dottle.
I can't ignore Dowdle's form. I don't actually know who's the better running back. Is it weird as that is to say? I don't know who's more talented,
No,
but
it's Brian
Dowdle
Robinson.
seems to have something really going his way. In
If
yardage.
you're going talent, it's Brian Robinson Jr. Dottle is just in a better volume situation.
Can't ignore the form too, man. Like it's so hard to sit back to back 100-yard rushing games. You just kind of have to assume something. Either
But Dottle
talent,
has no one
coaching, or
really
both.
behind him, and Brian Robinson has others behind him. So
yeah, plus a tough matchup that could be extremely low scoring. Where I don't think that the Dallas game is going to be as low scoring.
Patrick Taylor, Darnell Mooney.
Mooney.
We're going Mooney there, Z. Lee goes Garendo's out, so it's Rico Dottle. I like it. Nice and easy. That
We already got that
was
one right.
early.
Nice.
Yeah. Darnell Mooney or Patrick Taylor, full people. Oh, we already answered
Mooney?
that. My bad. So we already answered this one. Awesome. Let's go to the next one. So to answer the question, there was a question in here before. So Robert, go shout yourself on social media, please. I want to follow you both. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think both of our. I'm just at.
Look
like
in the
never
description.
going.
No, it's good.
Is it all
If you
in there,
look,
right?
if you look in the description, we have everyone's name in there. Everyone from the channel is listed in the description. So just make sure you guys, if you're looking to get in touch with us, all of our stuff is in the description below. And then mine's right here, and Kendall's is
I'm trying to change mine because it's different than my actual sign in here. It's Kendall TFFT.
Yeah, or if you type in the search Fantasy Football Tavern or Fantasy Football Tavern, you'll find them one way or another. So Endu, he goes also Marv or JMO or Olave if he gets the he's not playing. So it's Marv or JMO. I have Marv ranked higher.
Yeah, Marv.
Only by
Marv has, I think JMO has the yardage upside. Marv has more touchdown upside, and it's the Panthers. So I'm going to go Panthers. Bears do have a decent secondary.
I'm going with the matchup too. So the hype with Strange is because Evan Ingram's out on IR, and because of that, he's getting all of what Ingram would have gotten.
Well, Ingram's out plus what's his face?
Hurts. Well, Gabe Davis is out. Christian Kirk's out. So they have really nobody else. I mean, Parker Washington is not their whole offense. So they have a lot of wide receivers out. So he's just the next best option.
He's on the field almost every time. I mean, in one tight end formation, he's out there. In two tight end formations, he's out there. 12 targets is 12 targets, like when Stone Smart came in for Will Dissly, he did not have 12 targets, right? He had like 3 or 4. This guy comes in and gets 12 targets. You just know that targets are earned in the NFL. You don't get 12 targets out of absolute nowhere. You can get 7 or 8 out of nowhere, not 12.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jordan goes, yo, I need help, please. McMillan, Kendre Miller, Thielen, or Patrick Taylor. Flex full PPR.
Thielen.
I'm going Thielen as well.
Especially with Coker banged up. Yeah.
So Robert asks us, who is your fantasy MVP this year? Not your best player, but who has been the most valuable factor in position, production, draft position, projection, and production, everything? Who's your MVP on the season? That's a great question. I mean, if you really want to go off of all of that, I mean, Saquon is definitely the best option here. He's clearly the best when it comes to the value that you got at the position, the just overall, just the way he's been playing, and where he's going to finish. So, I mean, Barkley is definitely number one in my opinion. I'm trying to think of somebody else that even
I mean, Kamara's got to be pretty close.
Yeah, but with him being out the rest of the season, he kind of screwed himself out of that particular position.
My actual fantasy MVP.
I mean, Barkley has to be for me. JSN is a close second, just because of what he's been doing as of late, and he's kind of came up and freaked everybody out really with how much he's been involved. And you got him very late.
Who do I think is going to have the highest advance rate? Because I'm looking past the first rounders for
This is going to take
honestly.
me a minute.
You know what? I'm going to hammer it home especially because his best form is going to come at the best time of the year, and because he was on the league winners show. It was my pick. I'm going with Chase Brown.
Okay, Chase Brown's a great one. I like
Chase Brown.
I'm a big fan of Chase Brown there. So yeah, I can definitely agree with that. With what you have to say there. There's no way this is right. Is this just my team? Because I'm trying to do. Oh, this is red zone. I was trying to do stats to kind of get an idea of what's going on, because I'm trying to find like a guy that would be lower that was drafted and so on. But no, that one's probably the best one. Is Chase Brown.
Chase Brown BTJ is close, but I think Chase Brown overall, especially running back, is harder to find hits. Man. He's an RB you didn't plan on being your RB 1 or 2.
Yeah, 100%.
That is your RB 1 or 2. Saved you from all injuries. I mean, is definitely in there. I'm definitely going Chase Brown. RBs are typically league winners because, like, dude, if you're not chalk at running back, you need help. RB2 is a hell of a position to fill out, and Chase Brown slots in there in an elite fashion. I'm really sticking with Chase Brown, and I think he's going to average 18, 20 points throughout. Look what he's done in the fantasy playoffs. He's actually winning people weeks in the playoffs, which you have to do. Like, you can't just be a up until week 13, 14 guy. You've got to deliver in the playoffs too. And
he's saying about our own team. Well, let's just be really
in that case,
clear.
It's Chase Brown.
Yeah, there you go.
Definitely Chase Brown.
Let's be very clear here. Both of us run at least 10 teams. So the whole thing is crazy.
Give your top 3 and I'll give my top 3 then, because that'll give us an exposure across
most of my teams. It's so hard to pick from because I have so many. Like, I have a lot of dynasty teams, and if I had to go running back, it would probably be like, if I had to pick someone, it would probably be Joe Mixon, because I drafted him everywhere and he's like, he killed it for one end of the season. I didn't have a lot of Chase Brown, unfortunately. I didn't have a lot of a lot of the guys that we were talking about, Barkley or anything like that. I traded away Barkley for Puka at one point, but that's a salary cap dynasty league. If you've never played, I can definitely talk to you guys about that later. James Conner's another guy, but I don't have him in a lot of leagues, but I can, if I'm going off other teams. I didn't really do well with running backs this year. I just hit on the ones that I had, and most of them were either Gibbs, Monty, Derrick Henry, James Cook, and a few others. Chuba Hubbard was another guy that I really liked, and I thought did well. But that's about it. Like, I didn't have a lot. Wide receiver wise, I lucked out with Nico Collins, but he was a keeper.
I had like at RB, I think it's worth mentioning, I did not like the RB dead zone, but it was very good. And the only exception I made was for Monty or Connor. They typically went very, very close to each other. And around where they went, I hyper wanted to target one of them if I went heavier wide receiver early. So the split of one of those, definitely. I have to throw Saquon because I had a high percentage of 11 or 12th round pick. Or not round pick, but you know what I mean. And I late pivoted towards, I was going to split, and then I just decided, no matter what, if I'm at the 11 or 12, I'm taking Saquon and then somebody else. Yeah. And I split between Saquon Kyron, Saquon JT, and then Puka with that. Saquon was like my guaranteed I wouldn't let him pass the 11th pick. That has to be an MVP for me. And I think
for me, it would be Derrick Henry. If you really thought about it, I picked him in the second round in a 2-keeper 10-team league, and he was in the second round, mind you. So I was able to get away with that. I also had Monty on that particular team, who now is out. So he was another guy that I got late in the 6th round and really held my team together. Rashad White was another guy. So, yeah. So let's start wrapping this up. We got a couple more questions. We really do appreciate it, Robert. So let's just finish this out. Kiki Savage. Hey guys, I need some advice. I have Kelsey in my flex and I have Walker on the bench. Should I start Walker or keep Kelsey?
I'm going Kelsey there. I don't think Walker has a big enough, he's not going to take the whole role by himself coming off of injury with Charbonnet healthy, coming off of some pretty big games. I think they split it a little bit more than they did earlier in the season. And Kelsey is Kelsey tends to get better and more trustworthy the deeper they go into the year and into the playoffs. So I expect his results to be slightly elevated in a matchup that I think in closer matchups where they're not going to blow anybody out. I think Kelsey's a go-to. I think he's definitely one of those anytime touchdown candidates.
Yeah, I agree. So JC goes, you guys aren't worried about Tracy being banged up and Singletary eating to a lot of his touches, plus most likely a negative game script for the Giants. I'm nervous to play him. To be fair, I don't disagree with you, but the thing is that Tracy's more involved with the negative game script. They use him more in passing down than they do Singletary, and Tracy has just been a lot more consistent in what he does. So I'm okay with Tracy. Don't stress too much. Lee goes at tight end if Njoku is okay, him or Jonnu. Jonnu, I think we both agree. So no worries there. We got
guys. I'm so sorry. I got a hard stop.
Get out of here.
I got to sign off. I got 2 little ones. I got to go take care of my awesome. They're the cutest kids anyone's ever seen. Feel free to ask me questions about them. I'm an open book. They're literally the cutest kids ever. But y'all have an absolutely legendary night. Thank you for hanging out.
I'll see you. All right. So for this, it is at tight end. Oh, no, I got you. No, I got you. So at tight end, Njoku is okay. Him or Jonnu, it's Jonnu, without a question. Cooler hand, he goes London, Addison, or Patrick Taylor. It's my championship weekend. I really do like Addison here, but if you want to go past the weather and you don't want to deal with that, London is a good pivot. But Addison's been wide receiver 5 since week 11, so it's kind of hard for me to tell you to not play Addison. But I do like London in his matchup. Last one from Endu. He goes Bills D or Colts D. I like the Bills D. They've been on fire lately. Matt Milano being back, he's a good option. Joe, what's going on, Joe? He goes Chuba Hubbard, James Cook, or Joe Mixon or Jonathan Taylor. Pick 3 full PPR. James Cook for sure. Joe Mixon and Chuba Hubbard. I like Jonathan Taylor. It's just going to be a rough game for him against Tennessee. Baker before Godwin went down was real nice. Yeah, I really liked Baker. Baker would have been one of my guys for sure. I have Baker everywhere. So yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. We finally got to the end. 3 hours and 40 minutes. We really appreciate everybody in this chat. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go through every single person like I usually do. But Robert, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everyone's super chats that we had today. We had it from Ishmael. Who else? Roger, thank you again so much. Not all sweet and sour chicken is overcooked, is over here. Ginger baby, everybody, just thank you. Oh, Maddie, Tyler, thank you guys all so much for your super chats. Thank you so much. I will be back here on Sunday, so I'll be here Sunday morning at 11 a.m. To help you guys with any of your last minute start sit decisions, give you guys active and inactive. So I'll be around on Sunday morning. We normally would do 7 days a week, but we are probably going to be a little less than that because it is the holiday weekend. So please appreciate that for everybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful, happy holiday for any of those that celebrate. So thank you. Hope everyone enjoys. Be safe. Have fun with your families. Hope everyone enjoys this holiday weekend. We will, like I said, I'll be back here Sunday, and then we're going to be back again next Friday, hopefully to help you guys get into your championships. For those that got through, we will be here to help you guys through that particular situation. Also, Cody will be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. On the Sweet Life podcast. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, for those that are new to the show, make sure you guys subscribe to these guys up here. Let me take Cody's away. Sorry, buddy. the Fantasy Football Tavern, the Extra Point, and the Fantasy Boardroom. Make sure you guys are subscribing to them, as well as our buddy here who has been with us all night, the Sweet Life Podcast with Cody and Jack. So make sure you guys check them out tomorrow at 10 a.m. They will be here. I will be here Sunday as well. They will help you with all those same questions as well. So really appreciate it. Robert, he says, keep your head up. I appreciate the response in this, and we'll definitely be sticking around. Enjoy your night. Thanks. We really appreciate everybody. You guys can always hit me up on my social right here if you ever need it. I'm on X, I'm on Blue Sky, and on Sleeper, so you guys can always find me there. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful Week 16. Good luck to everybody in your championship matchups. Hope you guys do well, unless you're going against me. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Peace out.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking often, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.